everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Runeterra Academy, of uh, where we bring to you today the final match of the week for the sophomore division, with a matchup coming out of Group 4 between Zenigma, Infinity, and TD Harmony. I'm Sun Praising. Alongside me tonight is my co-caster will be TDS, which is something I haven't quite been used to saying this year, but get them new places, TDS. So
Yeah.
if I'm correct, you're generally the normal caster for the sophomore series.
Yep.
What can we possibly look forward to coming out of these two rosters today?
Well, this is going to be a fight between a 5-1 team against a 4-2. So top of the table, realistically, these should be two teams that do play really good. But I think that we're watching a matchup that should be obviously favored towards City Harmony. But I feel like there's a chance for a potential 2-1 coming through. We have had quite a lot of 2-0s in the broadcast, so hopefully it doesn't just continue repeating. Maybe it's Echo that brings the bad luck, but don't tell him I said this. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting series, and hopefully we go to a game 3.
Yeah, no, hopefully that'll be the case. But if if the records are anything to go off of, if you go by the game scores, TD Harmony has only lost 2 games
Yep.
so far this split, and they were against Team Ambition. I forget which
Gambit.
specific squad. It was TAG,
One of the many ambitions.
one of the many
Yeah.
Ambition squads, and they did not drop a single game the whole split, and they're already done with their 7. So
They dropped one, but yeah, losing against CA Gambit is certainly not
Did they?
something to be ashamed of. They have already finished their split, like you pointed out, and going unbeaten just shows how dominant they were and how much GD Harmony shouldn't take from their loss as something really bad, but something to improve on, because apart from losing from them, they have destroyed the rest of the teams, or at least taken away a lot of wins against the rest of the teams. So I feel like they have the potential to be up there. They just need to change a couple of things here and there, and they're certainly going to showcase themselves. Draft has started, so I think we can potentially go and look towards there, especially because the bans are already kind of flying. We have the Hecarim, the Morgana, and the Renata, and the Rek'Sai. A lot of champions that have been popping up quite a lot, particularly Renata and Rek'Sai. They weren't quite in the meta, but they have been popping up quite a lot. Renata obviously recently added. Rek'Sai as a counter, I think a lot specifically towards the Lee Sin. So we have seen her base popping out once as well. But they are champions that you do need to be careful about playing, especially if you don't have a lot of practice.
yeah, and I'd also have to imagine comfort has a lot to do with it. I know Milky, the jungler of Zenigma Infinity, who's starting on blue side this time around, has played a lot of Rek'Sai so far throughout the split. So even before Rek'Sai really started taking off as a meta champion in recent years, days, really.
Yeah.
Different
Been a
time
while.
frame. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since we've seen Rek'Sai as a priority pick. But speaking of priority picks, Jinx, the first one coming out for Zenigma Infinity.
Yeah, one priority that still has yet to die, the Jinx, to me, the best AD carry in the game. She does so much damage later on, she can pair up with so many supports, and Hack can play around so many compositions, so picking it up first makes a lot of sense. Now I think that TD Harmony is answering with the Ezreal. I feel potentially as well the Karma, because that allows for them to have quite a strong laning push, and you do get quite a lot of poke, something that can work out really well against Jinx and compositions that have not quite a huge range, which is something that maybe TD Harmony wants to look into. There's also the chance that they may look into the jungle pick here, potentially a Xin Zhao or a Lee Sin, especially since they banned away the Rek'Sai, but it's instead opting for the Thresh, and much more so than a pick to allow for them to carry, it's going to be a pick to stop the Jinx from getting safety. Because Thresh with Ezreal, not necessarily the best of pairings, it's not a bad pairing, don't get me wrong, but it's not the strong. But Jinx Thresh allows for so much safety for the Jinx, and also allows for a lot of peak potential, something that you do love to get with the Jinx, because that way you can get much more easy damage without having to put yourself into a bad position.
Yeah, and with being able to throw out the dark passage, but all the while we were talking about protection. Looks like Zenigma Infinity has gone the exact opposite direction, locking in Volibear, and he run fast, and that's my type of champion right there that I like seeing, in all honesty, especially paired up with Karma now.
Yeah, he runs fast, now he runs even faster thanks to the Karma, so this is a pairing that works out really well. As well with the Karma, you can pair up really well with the Jinx. She gets extra mobility, and you also will get lane pressure thanks to the range. Now they are both squishes, so we may get a lot of attention towards the bot side just because Jarvan getting picked right now means that there's going to be quite a lot of action early on. Jarvan is a ganking jungler that wants to put pressure on lanes, wants to try and make the game his from the start. So with this pair, with this 3 champion pick that TD Harmony has gone for, we may get a lot of attention on that bot side and a lot of power opting into just trying to shut down the Jinx and get rid of the Karma as well if possible. Now
Yeah.
opting into the sorry.
No, I was just about to agree with you with the whole Jarvan pick, and not only that, Hopium, Jarvan is his most played champion so far this split. So definitely, if you're in the side, in this ramifications of this matchup, really it's only for seeding. Both these teams, I believe, are mathematically in the playoffs, but
Yeah.
Since seeding is a relatively important thing, especially with how a dominant team in whichever ambition squad is in this group, definitely not one you would want to be facing. And so comfort, always something to talk about.
Yep, 100%. It's important to try and not give away something against any of the teams, especially like you're pointing out, seeding is important, but I also feel like getting your last win before playoffs allows for confidence going into it, right? Like, you don't want to get that extra boost of morale going into playoffs because, yes, there may be a strong teams there, but getting to playoffs means that you can fight against at least to a certain degree. So you do need that extra boost in morale. May work out really well for any team that ends up going into playoffs. Now, looking at the second round of bans, the last 4 bans of this first game, we have Victor, Malzahar, Twisted Fate, and Bane. Quite a lot of focus towards the mid lane, but interestingly, the Bane ban forced into TD Harmony means that there is a possibility for a counter pick Bane going to the top lane, something that maybe Zenigma doesn't really want to play at all, which is kind of surprising to say the least for me. But instead, it's going to be a Shen safe pick here, a really blindable champion. And I love that they pick it when you pick the Jarvan, because you do need to have champions that do want to go in, because that magnifies the value out of the Stand United from the Shen, the shield value, the engage potential. And it's great. I also like that they pair it up with the Ezreal, because it means that you can have an AD carry that is safe by himself, but also will not be forced into a bad position if he tries to go and fight with the rest of the team thanks to his repositioning tools in the Arcane Shift.
Yeah, and that combined with the fact that the rest of you saying we're talking about with the engage between Jarvan and Thresh being able to layer that CC from anywhere across the map always feels nice. However, we're seeing Mordekaiser getting locked in as a result, and in the 1v1, I think I like it. I think I like Mordekaiser and Shin because of the whole stopping Stand United with Brazil.
Okay, fair enough. I do like much more the pick that just got picked. The Taric going in with this composition provides for quite a lot of survivability potential for the Jinx, even more so now, and the rest of the champions thanks to the ultimate. But this also says that there's not going to be quite a powerful mid-game potential or early-game potential. Like, they're really banking on getting to that later stage point where you have so much heal, so much power, so much survivability that it's not going to matter. And TD Harmony closes it out with Ahri to further boost their peak potential in this composition. Like, if they are able to get a charm on someone, that someone may just get bursted out thanks to the amount of damage they do have in the form of Ahri, the Ezreal, and the Jarvan. But it also means that they are going to lack quite a bit of damage in comparison to Zenigma. If Zenigma gets to the later stages of the game, they will have much more damage to play around just because of the Jinx. But TD Harmony, even though the Ahri does deal quite a good amount of damage, and Ezreal does deal quite a good amount of damage as well, they are not consistent enough, or at least not the Ahri, to be your main damage dealer. And if teamfights become long teamfights thanks to the Taric, to the Karma, it just makes Jinx's life even more easy to play around.
Yeah, and as you're saying about things going longer and being such a heavily dive focused sort of composition,
yep.
I don't know if I've seen Mordekaiser used as a defensive ultimate, but I mean, we just might see that here, where like maybe Jarvan hops in and then no, but I mean, Mordekaiser's ult. Right? Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's not exactly something you think is being the most standard way of playing the champion, but just considering the compositions, definitely something that could be potentially coming through from these two teams. But we have now gotten into the client draft, so perhaps, I mean, unlikely that we'll see any sort of crazy uh flexes that
Maybe we get more mid.
yeah, but I was about to say, but
Maybe.
I've seen some crazy flexes happen before. I know, like you said, ward mid, throw karma top, and no, oh dear.
Yeah, I hope it's not the
Flashbacks.
case. I hope it's not the case. Maybe more jungle. It's also an option with Bolivar top. Wouldn't make sense since you pick the Mordekaiser after the Shen. But hey, I'm not the one that is picking the champions here. But yeah, we shouldn't expect anything crazy just because I think that these champions are pretty straightforward with where they want to be put, especially after you already pick champions like Taric and Karma that if one is not there, the other one could potentially go to the position that the other one is taking. But realistically, Taric is going bot lane, and you have the Thresh that as well is realistically going bot lane. So it's not like there's another crazy flex potential in another position. Should be pretty straightforward.
Top man. Yeah, no, it is pretty straightforward. But it's always something that shoot, I can't remember which week it was. I want to say it was like right around week 3. There was
Okay.
yeah, there was Volibear and Jarvan both selected the same game, and it was Jarvan top, Volibear jungle, and I was like, whoa, hold on, wait a moment. But so, like, I'm just saying, you never know. Like, sometimes you make claims, and then these teams surprise you with what they have in their up their sleeves. But no, as we were saying,
It's come to be the beauty of watching this. Don't want to say lower elo, but well, it's actually the truth. Watching these lower elo leagues, the fact that you can get some flexes that you really don't see consistently, and it actually makes the game more fun sometimes. So it would have been fun. I don't expect to see it at all, but in this game, at least. But it's always fun to see if there's any spicy kind of change here or there.
yeah. And so, as we're heading through, certain points of contention is one thing that I was interested in is Solus. He was able to get this Shin, especially considering that if I remember looking at the team sheets correctly, that it has 100% presence in all of TD Harmony's games, whether it be picked or banned. Shin has been there.
Interesting that, like, I'm kind of surprised to see it banned much more than picked, if I'm honest. But I think that it just some of the power that you get with Shen in this kind of flicks is that it's hard to punish him if you really don't face quite a lot of Shens. And then it can cover for so many weaknesses that some of the teams have in terms of decision making, trying to force fights, or just playing around a consistent carry. Like in this case, in this game, for example, Zenigma is going to try and play around the Jinx, essentially. Because even though Mordekaiser and Bolivar do feel like champions that can do some damage, it's protect the Jinx kind of composition, essentially. And if the side of TD Harmony is able to force onto the Jinx and kill her, it's going to be quite hard for the Zenigma to play around this game. And that's something that Shen shines in, because he allows for other champions to get towards the backline with more ease, thanks to the Shield of Stand United. And apart from that, he can then go and help kill that Jinx, which is something that Shen, not many other champions can do. Maybe Claire would be an option here, Sylas if he steals the ultimate out of the Shen, but apart from that, it's really few the amount of champions that can do this and can do this as effectively as Shen in this level.
Yeah, and so with that, and we have a few things to look forward to coming into game 1, but we do have the spectator delay, which is a 3-minute pause for just mostly competitive integrity. But
yep.
Once we do get through that, we'll see you then loaded onto the Rift. we have loaded in for game one between Zenigma Infinity and TD Harmony for this sophomore match of the week. And we got it. We
30
got
seconds until
the
minions
spectator
spawn.
bug on the right side again, where the portraits don't quite line up. We got a little fun thing there. You know,
The
it
infamous
almost
spectator
looks,
bug.
yeah, it's super pug, but it almost looks, if you look at the way these teams are doing their lines of, they're making their battle lines, is that it's almost poetic how similar they look.
Yeah, they wanna make Riot feel okay with having this kind of stupid bots in the game. And I got a
Minions
rhyme
have
out of that.
spawned.
Nice. So good start already.
Let's go. We're popping off here.
Yeah, already starting quite great. Just watching a little bit of the champions and what they bring here. Nothing out of the common, in all honesty. The Bolivar opting for the always forget the runes. For the
Press the attack.
press the attack instead of the, and I've seen quite a lot of Bolivars, or quite a few Bolivars taking lethal tempo instead. I'm of the mind that I would like to for them to take the counter, if I'm honest, but I like the lethal tempo version as well a little bit more.
I like press the attack because you run fast and you auto attack 3 times and do damage. If it comes to any surprise to anyone in chat with that statement, that I'm not exactly the best League of Legends player ever, but I have fun, so you know that's all that matters at the end of the day. So, but either way, we've got a little fight in this top lane. Mandan being able to proc his passive, actually getting a massive chuck onto 8. Ayus?
Yeah. That was so hard for the
like a
Shen,
Smurf
already
account?
blowing the pot. Maybe not, but already blowing the pot in the top lane. And importantly, this is a matchup that I've seen previously, but interesting that Ozzy didn't take the ignite instead of the teleport. I've seen that the ignite taken just to have some more pressure in lane, to not allow for the Mordekaiser to just go for those kind of crazy traits and take more out of you. But opting into the teleport this time around means that you have less lane pressure, lane potential to even go for a kill, but it means that you will have much more map pressure later on, because not only now you play around your Stand United, but your teleport as well, and Jarvan
We
coming
actually
down
might
bot
be
lane.
having a gank tour. Yeah, this is
Double
mentioning
ward.
that, but yeah, double wards will
Wow.
spot out Hopium. That'll be 20 gold in his pocket, so very least he might feel a little bit better in that way. And with as the crabs start spawning, we're probably looking at a no real potential fight in the rivers here. However, Hopium going for
Nice
yet
fuck up.
another gank. Or perhaps a little bit of a miscommunication as he doesn't quite get snared up. Charm lands, yeah.
If there was more proactivity out of the Ahri, that could have been such a nice attempt, because with Ignite on the Ahri, you can force the kill. We have seen the Jarvan Hopium trying to go for those ganks like we talked about, but it's not been as impactful as maybe we would have liked to, particularly because first, double wards on bot lane, taking away from that potential gank so early on, but also the positioning from the Karma is quite good, and Karma is a champion that you really don't mind if you get farmed or not. Oh, gank from behind.
Speaking of getting farmed or not, flash in from the bear, attacking 3 times, press the attack. I'm going to be mentioning that way too much, probably more so than I should, but either way, that's first blood going over to Tabda.
Based on its stats, as of now, Press the Attack has 100% kill participation. So, it must work out, right?
Yeah,
It has to.
obviously. Results-based analysis is obviously completely flawless with no issues with it whatsoever. But we just might have another gank straight to the bot side. That's unfortunate that Oracle Lens is going to run out right before he catches that ward though, and straight up to the top side. Yet another trade coming through. The Mandan looking very good for himself in these early trades in the top lane.
Yeah, and we may get a fight down here in the bot lane, so because of the vision that they had previously with that ward that expires, they know that Bolivar may be being down here. Oh, wait.
Yeah, this just might be trouble for the top laner of TD Harmony. Won't flash away, but gets very low. Probably will have to recall and actually flash in from the Mandan, but the blocked auto attacks will be okay for now. I'm not sure if this little exchange is over between the two of them. But he's going to flash away. Now off the wave there. Very, very heart and mouth moments for both top laners here. I really hope this kerfuffle isn't quite done between the two of them. But
We're going to
It's
see much more.
looking
Don't
more
worry
in.
about it. It's doubling. It's bound to have
True,
someone
true,
dying
true, true, true,
randomly. So
true, true.
don't worry about that. What I'm surprised though is Mandon was throwing himself like that as the Mordekaiser to try and get a kill, not actually expecting his damage to not kill, and then almost ends up messing up. Luckily, he gets the trade flash, so it's not a bad trade because it's flash for flash. But it's the kind of situations that can just
Oh,
lose you
we've got a
completely in the lane.
3v3 coming
Ooh.
soon in the spot lane, but
They
actually,
are spotted
okay.
though.
Yeah, flag and drag away from Hopium. Didn't quite have the Hopium on that engage, and probably wisely backs away. And with this, I find it unlikely that this is going to be contested, but I mean, maybe.
Nah, Jarvan is running
Yeah,
away.
yeah,
There
Jarvan's
was a
walking away.
huge wave crashing into bottom, so yeah, it's more than likely that it's not going to happen. The Ari wasn't even close by, so if you do end up contesting that, it's going to be a 3v4, which is not a fight that you ever want to take, and it can just be much more detrimental for your hold. So it's an easy dragon capture, and it's important to not only look at the dragon capture, but the rest of the map is actually not doing quite well for the side of TD Harmony. When you look at the CS differentials, everyone is losing apart from bot lane that is equal. Everyone has a CS deficit, even if it's small in the mid lane. Or now it changes in favor of the Ari, but it's bad that it's so high so early on, because Mordekaiser will have so much pressure in the side lane. You will have the Jinx that will slowly but surely climb into that hyper carry, and Ari needs to get those first two items because you're really dependent on her getting those to try and spike heavily in the mid game. If she's behind the Karma, then you have so much shielding, try and stop the Ari from being able to burst someone out, and you lose quite a lot of value out of that.
Yeah, and not only is there karma, you know, Tarek with his cosmic radiance, kind of being able to say Lamau no whenever he
Yeah,
feels like it. And that doesn't feel good, especially to a team that consists of Shin, Jarvan, and Ari. So we just might have a dive towards the top lane here.
I don't think it's
Maybe.
safe enough. Yeah.
I didn't think it was either, but there was very aggressive positioning. So I was
True.
I've seen crazier attempts before in my time casting, especially at the amateur level. So I mean, something that will always you always got to be on your toes. So
Not gonna lie, that is something really true. You never expect what crazy things we may get out of those dives. I respect much more the fact that they don't pull the go trigger, because it's better to wait and see if the positioning is good, and it's not like you need to force it. Instead, they get better positioning for this Reap Herald. They are now collecting another objective from the side of Zenigma, doing quite a nice job at keeping the pace of the map in their favor, and it's not like they need to push the pace even harder. They just need to have it in a spot where the enemy team cannot push it against them, and they can just keep on farming and collecting gold for their team.
yeah, and it's a little bit I'd say against the run of play here early on,
Oh,
especially considering the if
look
you're
at bot side though.
looking at the records. Oh yeah, shoot, we've got 4 members of the side of TD Harmony moving towards this bot lane. There's not quite a wave ready up there, but meanwhile on the top lane, AU is just trying to, or probably is he Australian? Is it that the fudge fact? No, I mean,
I
yeah,
don't think so.
yeah,
If,
well,
if that's the case, he's playing with really high ping though.
true, true. But speaking of the dive, it doesn't
Ooh.
look like we're done here.
No level 6
Everyone will be
carry?
no, yeah, no level 6 for the Jarvan coming through now. Oh man,
Oh,
next gets
jeez.
this first kill here. Teleport coming down. Midnight Wisp now going down. Currently a 2 for 0. However, these health bars are still really low. That is a massive kill for Tabs. He's doing a bunch of damage with the mantra, and this isn't quite over just yet. Gets the double kill, and I would imagine with that extra move speed that he'll get, even though all the while top lane turret does go down as the Rift was taken earlier, and but it does not look like Tabda will look to extend the amount of kills he gets in that
Yeah,
bot
and
lane.
that was such a bad dive at the end of the day. They get 2 kills, but at the end they give away 3. And yes, Karma may have gotten, oh wait.
Oh wait, yeah, ultimate use of the ball there, so no tower. And with that, Stand United won't quite come through, as that is yet another kill going over to the side. This is Zenigma Infinity very early on here, and within 10 minutes, it's a 3-kill lead for Zenigma Infinity, as well as a full tower already taken.
Yeah, almost 4,000 gold lead. And Zenigma pretty much saying, you wanted to do a dive, we can do it, but better than you. Because they get the kill, they get out, no one dies, and just making the gold lead be even more in favor of Zenigma. Great dive by them, great capitalization, and they get a kill onto the Mordekaiser, which I think was going to be ideal for them. Now, quickly speaking about that bot lane dive that we saw, because I think that it's actually important to talk about it. It was so badly executed, and it was against a Taric that didn't even have level 6. So it didn't work out, and it could have been even worse if the Taric had level 6. But there's one particular thing that I want to talk about it, and it's one ability that missed. The Charm. You cannot
Mm,
ever in your life fail the Charm Asari. Even though it's not no longer the main part of the key to deal damage, it is quite important to be able to get dives working for you and picks. Because if you mess it up, you give the opportunity for the enemy team to respond. And we saw how that happened. The Jinx gets a counter kill, and the enemy team cannot do anything correct in
done.
that play.
We've got all of both teams heading down towards this
There's a
this
worker.
dragon pit. Yeah, it's worded up. We've got the mountain drake spawning in 6 seconds, so both these squads should know where all of each other are on
Important
both
ultimate's down
sides.
though. The Volibear ulti is down.
Indeed, it is. So don't be able to hop in and gain that extra health as well as a dash. Though Volbe, he do run fast and he do have a karma.
Oop.
So yeah, even though I definitely feel a lot better to have that ultimate available to him for this most likely upcoming fight, or well, they kind of look like they want to fight, but
They're
it's
pushing
it's like
so
it's
hard
like
for it.
it's like on the school playground where you have two people talking mad garbage about each other, and then they're like talking about fighting, but then they never do, and you and then in the case of the school ground, it's good, but this is a League of Legends game. This isn't quite the school ground. We want to just go
Please,
send it.
someone engage for something.
Oh my
They're
gosh.
staring at each other way too hard. Oh wait,
Yeah, hold on. The Mandans will hit Alice. And actually, oh my
Oh,
dear
the
me,
ulti.
that's going to be oh, that's the Mandan being sent straight into the backline with his passive proc on the entire team of TD Harmony. And it's an absolutely massive fight for Zenigma.
Oh, ooh.
Getting yet one more kill onto Lost Tugs just for good measure. And wow. I mean, it took them a while, but they figured out that they have Volibear and Mordekaiser, and they run fast, and that was cool.
The length of that team fight felt, or the way that that team fight played out, felt like someone trying to hold back the other person so that he doesn't go in for the fight. But in reality, he was doing them a favor, because as soon as they let go, that person just completely destroyed them. Mandem flashes in, gets the ultimate on the Shen, kills the Shen, and then you have the ultimate value of the Taric. We see why that pig is so good at this point of the fight, because with just that one ultimate, with the lead that they have, they can rush in, they don't take damage, Bolivar is in a safe position with his ultimate, and then you even have the extra shields from the Karma to boot. If this game was much more even, I could see maybe the side of Zenigma failing, and if they leave the Jinx in a bad position, then maybe they fail and lose the fight. But because they have such a good, a high gold lead already, apart from the fact that they have so much safety in those ultimates, it just works out perfectly for them without really nothing going wrong for them. Also, Karma opting for the Ludens instead of much more supportive means that there's going to be quite a bit of damage there.
Oh, hold on, Old Man Genetics landing quite a bit of damage back onto Midnight Wisp, but ooh, that kind of landed. But no, more than likely, just going to be well, a good bit of poke, but not much more.
Not enough to get the kill though, but important trade. It does mean that there's going to be pressure onto that turret, and maybe the side of TD Harmony can get that turret, which would be quite a good gold value going into their pocket, especially because bounties came in just in time. So that is actually quite a lot of gold that they would get.
Yeah, currently it stands that they would get, I believe, 250 gold for taking this turret. But at the same time, we have what's going to be the second Rift Herald going over to the side of Zenigma Infinity. So with that little bit extra pressure to knock down yet another turret in this massive lead they have, they just might literally blow the map wide open. Actually, they're actually speaking of blowing the map wide open. Midnight Wisp will flash out of the Cataclysm, going low. Death Sentence does land, and that is an apt name for that situation. Mandan now sending Ozzy to Brazil, and Now,
Oh,
we'll have to
nice
flash
block.
away on that Shin. However, he's sitting at
He
just
should be
one
dead,
more
yeah.
bonk, should be able to take him down. And here comes the bear. He run fast.
Whoa!
He jumps away. Actually, Ozzy, though, followed up by the Volibear ultimate. Not quite
He's
going down
surviving for
just
so
yet.
long.
Will
Okay.
go the no damage circle. But all the while, that will be finally the Shin going down. But all the while, that spent a lot of time. And that's given, that gave, the
Wait, Morty
Mordekaiser.
is pushing a lone top lane.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Hold on, Charm lands. Tabitha takes quite a bit of damage. Would have been a lot nicer to see perhaps Clippin maybe to have waited to be the follow-up CC, but won't get the
Yeah.
lethal there.
Would it be too positive to think that they can maybe get a kill there, especially with the Polybear standing in front of them. But overall, looking at the whole context of things, they get a bounty out of the bot lane turret, they get a kill onto the Jinx, and they are able to blow out the two teleports out of the Mordekaiser and the Karma. So it's overall not a bad trade that they get. They get quite a lot of value, especially with the coming Drake in 1 minute 22. Like, that is an important break, and that's something that Mordekaiser will no longer be able to pressure the side lane because he doesn't have the teleport.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, jeez, that is a people. Oh wow. Okay, Tabda doing a hefty chunk of damage. Generally
Sword,
not
by the
something
way.
you. Yeah, generally not something you see or hear a lot from Karma. Is not often association with big
Yep.
damage numbers, but that was half of Lost Times' health bar just with one man for Q. So yeah, this Karma, I did not expect to see battle mage Karma today, but here we are.
Yeah, this is going to be the poke Karma build where she just pokes out the living hell out of the enemy team and they cannot do anything. What? How?
Ooh,
What?
I believe,
Yeah, he got
yeah,
it.
the old man, yeah,
How?
yeah. Through, I would imagine it'd be that
Milky, please.
didn't
No.
want I would imagine Milky didn't want to smite that because, as you
But
did mention, we do have the Drake coming up in just a few seconds. But at
I
the
do want to
same
say that he
time,
didn't need to smite it. He just needed to stand in front of it. That's it.
that is true. You know what? This is the reason why you're the color caster and I'm play-by-play.
There's no difference. Yeah,
But,
that's why I'm flaming Milky. There's no difference for user. You failed. But they're going to get the dragon, which overall, much more important than the Misty Scarlet Crab. They will get their third dragon soul point, and it is an ocean soul, which means that if they get this,
oh,
not
man.
only will they get already quite a huge amount of healing and shielding, but apart from that, add to that the dragon. This is so good for their composition, and if you didn't have previously grievous wounds, you will need to get them 100% now.
Yeah, and even if you do pick up those grievous wounds, the amount of shielding, the
Still
amount
so
of
much.
healing, the invulnerability from Fuzzy, I, it feels very comfortable for Zenigma as is. But if they do manage to collect that soul on a 22 minute timer, that with this team composition, it would be almost all but over in favor of Zenigma and Pinnacle.
It would feel like that. Like, I don't like saying games are over just because there's always
Oh,
the human mistake factor, right? Like, everyone can mess up at some point and give away the victory, but with the kind of composition that they have, with the amount of damage that they will be able to pull out heal, and with the amount of damage they can deal with the Jinx, realistically it should be quite an easy game to play out from that point onwards. Now, there's still a good chance for the side of TD Harmony, don't get me wrong, like, they still haven't done what this composition was mainly designed for, which was peak potential. It's not necessarily team fighting, it's peak potential. Looking for picks or small skirmishes that they can win through. And we haven't yet seen the Ari or the Thresh or for that the Jarvan trying to look for this. Oh, the hook maybe here?
yeah, I don't know about that one. It'll only land on to Fuzzy, and he's just going to get a few of that healing back up. And speaking of wanting to get picks, it's a bit interesting that Lost Times is decided to go for the Meandries instead of something like the Luden's Echo trying to pick up that full damage and just burst mostly Midnight Wisp down, but
I think it has to do with the fact that, and this is something that we talked about, the consistent damage issue that they would have if the Ari because of the Ari pick. Not that Ezreal cannot do it, but you will be missing quite a bit on damage, especially against such a consistent healing composition. You need much more damage to be able to pull some things. So I feel like that's the idea. There's a counterpoint there that maybe if you just burst them out quick enough, the healings don't matter at all. But I feel like this is the safest option to try and play out teamfights in case you mess up at some point.
Yeah, I see that school of thought. My original one was thinking that the whole bursting, especially as the sorcerer shoes do come through.
Yeah, I think it's a fair
for
one.
lost
In all
times.
honesty.
But you know, you never quite know what's going through on the comms or in the heads of these players. Perhaps you know something. They know something we don't. Sometimes I'm half certain that it's actually bronze games that eventually define the new meta, because like
Ironically,
some guy will be playing freaking lethality Varus for 3 years, and then all of a sudden a pro player
yeah.
finally figures out that like 2 years ago that lethality Varus actually does a bajillion damage. But
Yeah, like I'm always with these kinds of things, always reminded of that Dopa quote where he just said that he discovered the blue Ezreal because he lost against some random playing that. And it's like, that build was so strong, and people never played it, but because some random played it, they actually ended up planning it. And I'm always in agreement with that, because there's things that just simply don't want to try and play or don't think can be good, but because you didn't try it or are not willing, end up happening. And that's why you can never discount something unless you actually see how it works out.
yeah, though even if there is something behind this Leandri's Ari, looking at the 5.5K gold difference
Yep.
at 22 minutes with the soul point Drake coming up in under a minute now, it it might be one of those things where you say, well, I'm not sure how much Ludens would have made a difference here, but I
Yeah,
mean,
that is true.
we are looking at the hold on, words, English, difficult language. Um, Definitely a situation where it's like, well, okay, well, how much more burst would he really have get, especially through this team, and with Old Man getting very
Bye
low,
bye.
stun lands on the
Oh.
Targon. Genetics still managed to stay alive for now, but only for now, as Tabda with the mantra Q picking up that kill. Now 10-3 the kill score, and with the Drake spawning in 15 seconds, this is surely all but the soul going over to the side of Zenigma Infinity.
Yeah, it should be like Mordekaiser. Okay, he altered
Hold on,
vision,
he's just
but
going to send Ozzy to, well, a different country in the southern hemisphere, and actually won't be enough to find the lethal there. Maybe
surprised
still
they're looking for
burning.
it.
Actually, no, he'll live for now, but he's effectively taken out of this fight completely, and with 2 members down, even more so than before, you have to feel that this is going to be Soul going to Zenigma Infinity. And actually, hold on, just might be looking for a flank after this Drake. We know Jinx does get the passive off neutral
Jinx.
objectives. And
Oh,
now
the
the flash in from Mandan, getting 2 with that one. Chipping Scrubs going to be most likely going down now as he's completely caught out away from his team. And there's no real easy way for him to get any sort of support.
Flash.
Will
Oh.
flash. Superman Death Hawk going a bit wide to flashing from Milky, and
Wait.
the fights may have been a little bit excessive, especially as they start to turn on
Yeah.
to this.
Milky uses, but yeah, they need to disengage. They cannot fight this without Milky's smite. Like, like you're pointing out, that was completely unnecessary, because this means completely that they cannot force the Baron because they are at risk. If they try and burst it out, then Jarvan can steal it because there's no smite. And if you pester way too long, you can get collapsed on and maybe die and give away the Baron. So that is might actually quite important to have been used so randomly at that point. But the game is still in such a positive aspect for the side of Zenigma. They have the Ocean Soul, they have a lot of gold that they were collecting in base, and they have complete control over the map. Look at the vision, like, even though there's quite a few words for the side of TD Harmony, they are not good enough that you can keep yourself from getting information or keep the enemy from getting information. And I feel like that's something so important in this spot, because it's so easy for the enemy team to just try and rush Baron now.
Yeah, as you're seeing there, both the supports trying to get a little bit of dominance in this Vision War. However, Arcane shift forward onto Midnight Wisp with Old Man Genetics will force the flash out of this Jinx. However, Super Mega Death
Not
Rocket
enough
will
damage.
land and most likely force Old Man Genetics out for the rest of any potential fight coming through. And actually, hold on, ping zone all and over, all to the Baron. And without that ultimate from Ezreal, no easy way to potentially throw a
already
spanner in
healed
the
up.
works. And yeah, They're trying this, even though both teams know where each other are. And Mandan does have his ultimate available now as well. Will be able to take this Jarvan out of the fight should he decide to try to go over. And as I'm saying, with both smites available, he'll use it a bit early actually with vision over the wall, and that'll be the free bear, or well, maybe not necessarily free, but definitely very good tactical use from Mandan of his ultimate to ensure that his team picks up the Baron.
Especially with the fact that it's the Jinx that gets the Baron, I think much more important the fact that they use the ultimate plot. Great timing, great use. They get the Baron, they can go for a 5-man push, honestly. Like at this point they have so much protection and healing, or even though Karma didn't opt into a much more supportive build, like they still can do so much. Look at the healings from the Terry. And the Ocean Soul as well.
Yeah, it even though these Ezreal hookies are coming through, yeah, hold on, here it comes through, but there you go, the Divine Radiance going to keep everybody alive. It is an absolute massacre of TD Harmony, as all of them have just, well, they're not on the map anymore, and I feel like that just might be the game one done and dusted in 26 minutes.
Yeah, maybe it is. I'm kind of scared because Jinx is not here, so they may be lacking on some potential damage though. But like you're pointing out, they're still 4 members strong. They have enough pushing with the minions to maybe force it out, and it's just the characters. So they are still threatened to get killed immediately. But I think they're maybe able to push out the wave. Yeah, it seems like they are going to. The death timers are not that long, so they are able to come back, and it's not as as bad as it could have been. Because if Jinx is alive, game's over. But luckily they were able to kill her and buy themselves a little bit more time. But I don't think that even if they buy themselves some time, it's going to work out for them.
Yeah, but I mean, so long as you're always in it. Hold on, gotta fight around red buff. Opium perhaps inhaling a bit too much of his own supply there.
Yeah.
Won't be able to take that little buff away, but oh shoot, the Brambleback's technically the name, but you know, who cares? It's red buff.
Yeah, I will always go with red buff.
Yeah, his red buff. They're chickens. They're blue buff. Yeah,
I call them birds.
Like this camp right here that Milky's going. That's a frog. Yeah.
Exactly. So. Then we have the rocks, and then the crab.
Yeah.
And wolves. There, it's easy to
well, I'm pretty sure wolves are still called wolves, but like, I don't know. Either way.
They just died, so I cannot confirm or deny that, but I think they should be wolves.
Yeah, and if they're not wolves, they're wolves. So
hello,
I'm the new CEO of Riot Games. You can't prove me otherwise.
If they are not called wolves, I'm going to blame you then, because if you're the CEO of Riot, you're doing something wrong.
No, you know, you just gotta gotta change it up real fast. Like quick patch into the game, guys. Gotta save face here. But all the while, Deathbush potentially coming through though. It is warded, and the will spot that out. So there's absolutely no vision throughout this quadrant of the map.
Completely dark. They have no. They can maybe spot here, but it's way too early of an ultimate, so there shouldn't be a chance that they are doing the dragon, if I'm honest. And if they have to walk here, although there's now a little bit of an open spot for them to try and walk, thanks to the fact they were moving around too much. But this is so tough. The side of TD Harmony are entering from the side that was already kind of warded, so they should know where these champions are, and they know where the Jarvan is as well.
Yeah, and wait, never mind. Damn, they didn't quite fully commit to that death bush. And well, I say fully commit to that death bush. That'll be the top lane tier 1 going down this time, and I was going to hope that they were going to stay really quiet, but especially with Tarek being already bound to his Jinx standing in that bush, they'll know that that bush is full. And okay, I was going to say to be very quiet as to not alert the enemy team, but they did that themselves. So all the while, flashing from Mandan, hold on, taking Opium here. The flag and drag will be interrupted. Going low, going down with the bonk, and getting that kill. However, Targon will go down, will get the part of Divine Radiance out here, so Midnight Wisp is invincible. The huge Jinx, but all the while, Mandan in the middle of this fight, doing so much damage on this Mordekaiser, demanding that everyone runs away on the side of TD Harmony, and lost times with the flash over, and that teleport. I mean, I don't know if it'll matter too much, and actually no, wait.
It's an extra objective, it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, I'm actually just a bit blind. I thought I saw the teleport going onto the pink ward, and I thought it was just a slight misclick. But no, it turns out I'm just blind as they teleport into the base, and well, this will most likely be game one coming down through. However,
Yeah.
Cataclysm does go through. They will end kill onto the Shin. They're looking to
Yeah, it's done.
extend another kill, but it won't be enough to take down Hopian a second time. And game one, that is absolute dominance shown from Zenigma Infinity, which is it's just not anything we really had in mind coming into this game, TDS.
Yeah, I thought TD Harmony would have been the much more determined and decisive in some of the way that they will be playing this game, since they had a much more early oriented composition with the Jarvan, with the Ari, with the Shen, but really a quiet game in comparison. When you see what Enigma did, quite a great game. We saw so much impact out of Milky, we saw so much impact out of Midnight Wasp, and then the Mandan as well, just taking control over the top lane. Really nice game by Enigma, controlled, taking 30 minutes, just about what I would expect this composition to come online. It did come online earlier, but they try and take it as methodical as possible. I want, if possible, I want to look at this topside scoreline, because look at that teamwork. 5-0 and 6 for the three people in the top side. That's actually quite impressive, if I'm honest.
Yeah, honestly, the amount of coordination from Zenigma Infinity, especially in the first few minutes, I would call back to the two ganks from the Jarvan in those first like 3 or so minutes, especially the one towards the mid lane
Yeah,
where lost times and Hopium just really weren't on the same page at all, and what you would imagine is normally a very high kill pressure mid jungle 2v2.
yep,
And so that not going through, I think really was just the epitome of how TD Harmony struggled in this first game. However, it is only game one, and we still have another two potentially coming
correct.
through. So TD Harmony maybe reorganize, rethink. Maybe they didn't take game one seriously enough and were joking too much, as since they were already in playoffs and they're like, oh, this team's nothing. We've only lost 2 games so far, and they were to the team that's undefeated. And well, they need if they are obviously hope. I'm hoping they're planning to win. I'm inhaling that hopium, but
Yeah,
they
that would be
what would
great.
we like to see from the change in sort of harmony in game two? I mean, there's a lot, but like one main thing before we send it to a break.
I would say the pick in mid lane, because they counter pick with the Ari, but it really wasn't, not only not a counter pick because it didn't find quite a lot of pressure, but it left you into a tough spot when it came later on into the game. You didn't have much more consistent damage. You really didn't have a second plan apart from trying to win mid game and then maybe some picks. So I feel like you kind of pigeonholed yourself with that pick. I hope that they can adapt for something much more versatile in the mid lane, something that would actually give impact if you take it as a counter pick, and that would allow for your team to get even more strong. Hopefully, what I think TD Harmony.
And all right, on that note, we and hope for some flexibility from TD Harmony, especially with Zenigma Infinity with the whole karma switch up at the end there. But on
Yep.
that note, we'll send it to a break, and when we come back, we'll be back. We'll be in the draft of Game Two between Zenigma Infinity and TD Harmony. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you then. Cool. And we are back for game two between Zenigma Infinity and TD Harmony, and a really big upset in the first game for Zenigma Infinity. Definitely the one as the lesser favorited teams coming into this final week of Runeterra Academy Sophomore League. But here we are, sitting at 1-0 favor for them.
Yeah, and playing a really nice game. See, they knew what their win conditions were. They didn't overcommit for certain things, but they had a really nice early game as well to compensate for maybe the lack of potential early game that they had and played accordingly. I feel like doing quite a not only quite a good job, but really demonstrating that they are a team to be careful of if they get some of the they want to play a lot. And also, like you pointed out before we went into break, the flex in the karma was so good. They utilized that so effectively. They got a champion that I think it's overlooked currently in the meta, and they played around the champion well. So really nice game by Zenigma. On the other side, TD Harmony, they need to change some things with how it happened in their game, but already, if I'm not wrong, making some changes in the top lane. It seems that it's not going to be Aussie, but now it's Solus from what I see. So it's going to be an interesting change and see what does happen with this new player.
Yeah, it's something that I must have missed personally over the top view because I on my notes I had Solus written down as TD Harmony's main top laner, and
Okay.
I think I remember in like the first fight that we cut to the first trade between Ozzy and the Mandan. I said Solus instead of Ozzy, and then I was like, wait, hold on a second, that's not who it is, but he's here now. So
Yeah.
if there's anything to look out for, one thing we didn't quite account for before, it's that perhaps maybe the bit of unfamiliarity from TD Harmony. They might be more harmonious now. But God, that was
Maybe.
terrible. But,
The only thing that I may be scared of out of this is that now they're playing on the blue side, so they are giving red side towards Senegma, and they already showed the counter pick top lane in the previous game when they counter picked the Mordekaiser against the Shen that was R4. So this time around, they having R5 for themselves to try and counter pick top lane may be once again a situation that can put TD Harmony in a compromise, and they will have to be forced into a bad spot even if they don't want to.
I will have to say we do have a slight potential issue regarding Solus coming back in terms of a 21-day rule of being of missing games. Apparently must have missed the last 3 weeks total, and I would imagine that would
Okay.
entail that if they do come through, that TD Harmony may just have to miss their first three bands if Solus plays.
Seems like
No
well,
update on that just yet. Um, we'll have to see then. But we do have a few minutes now. It's looking like maybe
yeah.
Ozzy might be coming back in for TD Harmony, even according to
Interesting
what's
turn of
going through
events.
the game chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely after first
Wasn't quite
making a
expecting that.
mistake thinking that Ozzy was Solus, Solus comes back in, but here we are again. It just might be Ozzy back in for game two. Yeah,
Yeah.
Solus has moved to the spectators slot and left that open for he's officially left the lobby. So I'd imagine
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
Ozzy coming in. Yeah. Ozzy's back in for TD Harmony.
Yeah. So it's not going to change much then. It's going to be once
Yeah.
again the previous game.
Oh, that was good to know that last conversation was totally relevant for this upcoming
Well, it's
game.
still kind of relevant, right? Like you still are facing counter pick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it does impact in a little
Well,
in
it was the half of that conversation was irrelevant. The half
oh,
whereas
okay,
the
we're even getting another change. Ozzy is going into the jungle. Hopium is taking top
no.
lane.
Wait, hold on. Nah, man. I
Now
mean,
the
this is
conversation is changed.
no. Wait, hold on. Yeah, there. I hope you would have to. Yeah, wait. This is
Well, Hopium is their highest ranked player, so maybe they want to cover that potential weakness with this.
Maybe. I've tried to I think, was he saying hi? Targon Fuzzy Targon says, "Okay, sounds good." I'm trying to scroll through seeing what's going to be happening here. Yeah, so in order to not so just to reiterate for those who might be tuning in and just tuning in and for
Just
what
now.
sort of confusion is going through and why I haven't quite gotten into draft yet, it's that there in the rule books, if a player doesn't play for 21 days on a roster, they're technically no longer a part of that roster, not the main starter, and it would count as. And so if Solus went to move back in, it would count as an emergency substitution, and they would lose their first 3 bans of both games 2 and potentially 3 if there is one. So
Okay.
they decided as a team that they're not going to put Solus back in, and instead they're going to continue on with Ozzy for the rest of the series.
Yeah, overall, unlucky situation for TD Harmony about that particular, but it's the rules, and Runeterra is a company, is a league that does enforce the rules if they need. So like, it's unlucky that it happens, but at least it's happening when it's not going to quite impact the the positioning in the standings, in my opinion. Like for GD Harmony, at least, I think that it doesn't quite impact in them much. They are already in playoffs, so it's not that bad. But it is something to look forward to going into playoffs, especially if this stays like this. And draft seems to have started already. Nice.
Yeah, so as we do confirm with that coming through, that in fact, actually Hopium hasn't switched out of the top lane just yet. So we were talking about some strange switch ups. That would be a lot. That would be a lot more on the side of what
It's
the
what
heck
they
is going on, sort of
they would
changes.
do,
But
so
yeah,
they did say that they were going to put Hopium into the top lane. So we're going to see how does he perform. TD Harmony, just looking at the ban list now, TD Harmony does opt into banning the Mordekaiser this game, so taking away that potential counter pick as well. But I feel like it's still on the side that Zenigma will have counter pick top lane, and that's something really important for them because they, from what we've seen, they do like to playing around Mandom, being able to put pressure on top side, and then allow for the bot side to have some sort of help from the.
you there or
What?
Oh, it sounded like you cut off at the end of it, like
sorry.
you were going to that you were speaking a full sentence, and that like you got cut off, and I was making sure you just didn't disconnect there, and if I knew I had to
It
take
would have
over,
been surprising.
but
How
looks
the
like
series has been going.
that was all of a sudden, hey guys, this is solo cast now, but no,
Exactly.
but all the while we see, speaking of bands that are from last game, Tarek being the one coming through, and Jinx once more being locked in first.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Jinx had so much impact in the previous game with the damage that she dealt. Even though it's not necessarily that they win thanks to the Jinx, she was a part of the reason why they ended up winning, so quite important champion. If you can play around her, it's going to be really important. Important to note as well, Hecarim was banned in the previous game. This time around, it's not taken away. Rek'Sai as well. So we get the Ashe, the Rek'Sai from Milky, which just you kind of hyped up, right? Like he is a player that does want to play the Rek'Sai. So we're going to see quite a lot of action out of Milky, and he has to, because early game is really, really important for the Rek'Sai to go well for them.
Yeah, speaking of, you were talking about more flex picks coming through TD Harmony, and I don't want to say anything now, but I was last times big fan of picking Morgana mid. Take that as you will. You might hate him on a personal level for that. However, that little bit extra. No, I know, but there's just some people who really don't like Morgana mid. Yeah. Not necessarily you, TDS, more so of just in general you as like anyone who might be tuning in. But
fair enough, yeah.
But yeah, so with that coming through, we've got potentially all the flex picks now as Karma gets locked in for Zenigma Infinity.
Yeah, and we saw in the previous game that Karma flex. This time around, Taric is banned away, so I don't think we're going to get a Taric. But I think Karma Ashe this game is actually quite good, because even though Jinx Morgana can get the push, Karma is pretty much the queen of pushing waves in bot lane if you're an enchanter. So you get much more power down there, you get much more push, and if you get push, you get control. If you get control, you allow for this Rek'Sai to be as risky as possible, as reckless as possible, and try and invade the enemy side as much as possible, and try and put down this Jarvan. So I do like the pick here. Now looking at the bans, Twisted Fate once again, are we going to get a 4 mid lane ban, 3 mid lane?
I got Volibear. No more press the attack, Volibear. You will be missed.
They did have Rek'Sai, so I'm not sure about that Volibear ban.
You know, you put Volibear top and.
Well, that is true. I'm not sure about it, but that is true. It's a potential pick. Now, they did take away the Bolivar, which means that there's going to be quite a lot of champions open for top lane. I feel like if you're Zenigma, you ban maybe another mid laner here, or a top laner is not a bad option. Gangplank is a nice pick. You ban that, those two champions. You pick here Victor if it's not taken away, since it's a good clear and a pretty strong late game carry in the mid lane, and then you leave your counter pick for top lane. Would be ideal here.
Yeah, and especially with how strong Victor has been ever since the start of this season. Even though he's not quite as high a priority as he once was, still definitely a very strong champion that you don't want to write off. And so with that in mind, it would be a very reasonable pick to see come through. But at the same time, potentially if wait, no, it's Zeni's on red side now. Yeah, I could see a Victor, especially as yeah, there it is.
Prediction.
Yeah, especially as I believe Tabda has played Victor's his most played champion in the split. So also as well as being meta, you get the comfort there.
Yep, it's just such a good champion to pick right now. If you're scared of some potential blind or something like that, Victor is one of the better ones. Corki was another option that you could look into, but that's if you want more poke. I think that Victor is an all-rounder better. And as a counter Bex, not a bad option. You have the engage, you have a Jarvan already, so you have quite a lot of power engaging there. Yeah, no, I'm not ready for that. Bex has quite a lot of power following up with the Jarvan, and one thing that we have yet to comment on is the synergy that Morgana has with Jarvan or Bex thanks to the Black Sheep. Like, they can engage quite freely without worrying about CT, and they can create quite a lot of chaos. So this trio between Morgana, Jarvan, Bex can be quite powerful. And the Camille to close it out, so it makes it even easier to lock someone down, and that someone is more than likely Ashe. She's essentially the easiest target to get onto. Like, she doesn't have any mobility. Victor at least has the Q movement speed, so that's something, but Ashe has absolutely no. So she's going to be the easiest target to try and lock down and kill as soon as possible. Now, as a counter, I think we may get a Fiora here. I would.
Oh, please do tell.
Oh,
I mean, I would say it's
bad.
probably the better counter, and like at least in terms of playing wise, and definitely one.
For team play, it's probably the better, since one of the things that TD Harmony's composition wants to do quite a lot is engaging, right? So you get the set, which works really well to counter engage with the ultimate to push someone away, and that at least means safety for your team. Now, I think Fiora, because based on what we saw in the previous game from Zenigma, Fiora would have put so much power into the side lane, and you would have to pay attention quite heavily on her. Zed can do that to a certain degree as well, but I think that Fiora would be much more oppressive if you do opt into the Fiora. But interesting compositions overall from both teams. Zenigma, quite damage focused, much more early and mid game focused, even though the Victory is quite a great scaler. Like, a lot of these champions spike really heavily in the mid game, and after that they can fall over quite a bit. On the other hand, TD Harmony has a really explosive teamfight composition that does have quite good consistent damage in the form of the Jinx, but they are dependent on the Jarvan, the Bex, and the Camille ultimate. If those three work out, you can win the teamfight so easily. But if not, you're left with kind of a blank spot or void that it's going to be hard to stop from happening, and Zenigma does have quite a lot of consistent damage to play around.
Yeah, but I think if there's anything to say about TDH's current composition, I think there's definitely more of an obvious synergy between them. I mean, the last time there was definitely a very big theme on getting on a pick composition with them. However, I think this time around, I do like how much more obvious and like room for error there will be for that for what is essentially a same style of composition, but you know, ease of execution is never.
These composition gives.
Yeah,
it just feels much more balanced to a certain degree, and even if you fail at the start, there's chances and possibilities for later on to get something going. I think that Zenigma's composition is much more risky in the sense that if they make one or two mistakes, it can be doomed. But on TD Harmony's side, they can make one or two mistakes, but there's still avenues to come back later on, which I think it's really, really important having a composition.
Yeah, and as we move into the client draft, with Camille being locked in there, I'm pretty sure that resolves any sort of ridiculous picks. However, we got like the Mandan.
Yeah.
Got switching between Yasuo and Yone, but don't be fooled by that. It's all for a laugh, and even sometimes I wish there was a way just to put the the lobby chat into the stream because like the amount of banter that was going between these two teams
I
in
do feel like we
pregame.
shouldn't though, just in case. Like,
Yeah,
there's some risky chats sometimes that we
yeah,
shouldn't
that is you know what, that's a good point. But actually, you know, that's a really good point. Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what?
it's a risky kind of situation sometimes, so
yeah.
it's
No,
better
but
not to throw everything away.
yeah, but it was great when Zenigma locked in Victor, they immediately went straight to the chat and said that's Victor support, by the way, as it was going to be another Karma flex. But I mean that would be the day. But
Now hear me out. I think that there's maybe one or two instances where maybe Victor support works out, like Anivia support. It may work out. Like you have the stun, you have poke, you can deal damage. So see, it can work out maybe.
I feel like old Victor would be a bit better support because he'd be able to buy his augments rather than having to
Farm.
train minions
Yeah,
for it.
that is true.
I think that is a very big limiting factor to that idea. But either way, we won't actually be seeing Victor support. It was just a good laugh between the two teams, and honestly, very topical with how this cast has been going. Something that kind of caught us off guard last match was, in fact, that Karma Flex. But as this time it is on Fuzzy of Targon, we'll see how good a different player is at the piloting the same champion. Gosh, that was so hard to say. I don't know why either.
It's going to be 100% a different style. Since in the previous game we saw a much more damage-oriented style, this time around it has to be utility-focused, right? Like, I don't think you get Karma going damage in the support position. We would get a much more supportive-focused Karma with just allowing for her carries to do as much as possible instead of her.
Yeah, and you know, as we are saying, especially with bringing back Victor support, is that one thing that is widely accepted as knowledge, except for then a couple of on rare occasions, is that support just doesn't get a lot of gold. And
True.
And
It does happen quite a bit.
I mean, you had Cineton Kinch for a bit there, or sometimes you'd get some sort of or Garen Yumi, where technically that was painful. Oh my god, the memories. But
I was against that, and I was in favor of that because it's variety in League. It's also
yeah,
variety that I hate, sadly.
yeah. No, I think it was good to like be explored as an idea because variety is always fun. But it's like when you're going into Worlds and you've seen it played every week, it's either picked or banned for the last like 10 weeks, and you're just like, please stop.
Yeah, it's kind of hate it.
It comes a point where it stops becoming variety, and it's like, oh my god, this is so.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, but I do like variety. But with that, we've actually gone a little bit into the spectator delay. Though it won't be as long of a break this time around, but we will send it to a break, and when we get back, we will have loaded in for Game 2 between Zenigma Infinity and TD Harmony. See you then. loaded onto the rift for game two
Welcome to
between
Summoner's
Zenigma and Vinny and
Rift.
TD Harmony, and straight away TD Harmony looking like they just might find some level 1 shenanigans in and around here.
30
I'm
seconds
going
until
bot.
minions spawn.
And like, it's not gonna work out, but it like this.
Definitely covers for any potential sort of invade through this brush specifically, but I mean with with the two with
Yeah,
Milky and Targon being on that pixel bush, I don't believe this will really see anything come of it. And yeah,
Minions have spawned.
well,
I feel like.
it,
Oh,
oh no, go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say, I feel like from the side of the Harmony, you have to be the one to propose a play. You cannot wait for it because the side of Zenigma doesn't really have anyone that wants to invade level 1. I don't think Karma, Ash, or Victor want to invade at level 1. Morgana, on the other hand, would like to invade level 1 thanks to the Dark Binding. So I feel like if they had taken the initiative, it would have worked out maybe a little bit better. But I can understand why they waited. Damage.
And speaking of waiting for damage, literally good use of the vision there from the side of Zeniga Infinity's bot lane, knowing that they didn't have vision, getting a nice chunk of damage out onto this Morgana. And if there's, you were saying, the extra bit of damage, however, towards his bot side, Ozzy.
Oh,
Yeah, he's here and around, definitely
like this
staying,
play.
definitely not against the idea of going for a level 2 gank here after only clearing the red buff. And okay, walk away. I was hoping. Actually, we saw there that Clippin had already put points into his pool. So
Yeah.
yeah, the
And I
corrupted
think that's
ground.
the
So
main
yeah, that
reason. I think that's the main reason why we didn't see a gank happen. Because the positioning wasn't bad. But when you cannot flash bind in, then it's not going to work out that great. Now they should know that Jarvan is bot side because of a ward that was in the pixel. So and they just pinged it out. Yes, this is good play by the side of Zenigma's bot lane because they know that Jarvan should be bot side. Jarvan also is going towards the blue side jungle of the Rek'Sai, knowing that Rek'Sai should be top side, so they are going to mirror their sides in the map but not get a huge advantage. Oh, ganking.
Well, got a gank into the mid lane. Milky trying to find the knockup. Will have to flash in for it as he missed his first ability, but it will force an equally another flash out of lost times. So without that, Summoner's Spell might be a point of contention that we see returning to in these coming minutes.
Yeah, potentially. Hopefully they do continue ganking because that's something that you always want to see with the Rek'Sai, right? Continuous ganking and good continuous ganking. Also, this is a good chance and gank Dapta since there's no vision down there, but they should know that where the Jarvan is, or at least kind of guess it.
Yeah, at least you said, at least kind of guessing. But yeah. I mean, speaking of kind of guessing, Ozzy looks like he's been kind of guessing on what he really wants to do with his pathing. Is he's only cleared that red buff as a camp, and he's sitting on level 2, really starting to fall behind early on here. Even though, you know, usually think Jarvan, it doesn't necessarily matter too much how many camps he gets, because you kind of expect him to fall behind anyway. There's a point to where that's kind of, yeah, it's to an extent that you have to say, hold on, that's not quite what you want to see. And he will flash and drag away, being able to steal away that blue buff, but still only two camps at 4 minutes. Not exactly the best time, not exactly the best clear I've ever seen before.
Yeah, important though, the Rek'Sai didn't take the top side jungle, which means that even though Rek'Sai is ahead, she's not ahead by quite much. Now she's going towards the top side jungle. You need to take the blue buff away, 100%, and you need to take the Gromp. If you do that, you're going to be in such a good pace against the Jarvan, and the Jarvan is going to be quite slow in what he wants to do. Nice.
Yeah, bot lane, I don't believe anything will come to that. I mean, that shield pretty much negated all that damage coming through from the bot lane of TD Harmony. So really nothing lost there. But as you were saying, yeah, as Jarvan cleared out his chickens, that means that there's free reign in this top side map. However, yeah, we see Camille starting to move towards
Mommy Milk,
side of the map. Hopium.
Oh,
Yeah, I would imagine Milky was the one who hit the blast cone there, but all the while, this just might have bought Hopium enough time to win this fight. As Ozzy's here now, though he's low. Flash from the Mandan trying to get him. Low first blood goes over to the Camille, but
What
went
did
over
Mandel do?
just yeah. I'm not quite completely sure how that would played out the exact way that it is. The stun will land though. Hopium will be able to use the adaptive force, adaptive shield on his passive. Will be able to pick up that second kill, and that's two kills going to TD Harmony.
Okay, so I'm not saying that that they just lost the game thanks to this, but if Zenigma ends up losing the game, this is going to be one part of it because you can never lose a fight in the first 10 minutes of the game as a Rek'Sai. You simply can never lose one because it just puts you so far behind. Look at the difference in items right now. The Jarvan was so far behind because of what the Rek'Sai was doing, but now he has the Iron Spikes whip, and the Rek'Sai has 2 long swords. That's it. That's your value as Rek'Sai completely gone, essentially. And that fight was simply so badly taken. First of all, I think that the idea should have been to run away and survive. You already are taking the fight, and it kind of looked good, but you're fighting 2 enemies completely disjointedly. Like, you cannot separate your damage like that. I think that if they go to kill the Camille would have been a way better, but they don't opt into killing no one. And then Milky goes back in for no reason at all. He should have just tried and run away. And Mandon uses the flash incorrectly. He flashes before preemptively, but doesn't get anything done with that. The Jarvan just kind of plays around him like if he was playing against with a toy, and nothing ends up happening. You lose every value there, and then you get 2 kills, 2 easy kills to the Camille. Like, everything that could go wrong went wrong there.
And all the while, I'm sorry, I couldn't keep that chuckle with the way the Mandan and Hopium were spamming their taunts, but yeah, obviously is a ritual between top laners,
Yeah.
but all the while, yeah, hold on, Hopium perhaps getting a little, as I've mentioned before, a bit too much of his own supply.
What?
There, just doesn't even have to use the haymaker to keep himself alive, and so. Yeah, very clean from the Mandan. So, and oh wow, that'll open up on the bottom half of this map. Just might be a cross-map victory for Zenigma Infinity.
Yeah, 100%. Getting the Drake and a kill for Mandem like that was so important.
Oh,
great.
Black Shield is enough to keep the stun from coming through onto Old Man Genetics from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Dark Binding will miss. However, straight over to the mid lane. Lost times will launch a bit of damage onto Tabbed, followed up by that flag and drag from Ozzy, makes sure that the kill does go over into the mid lane for the side of TD Harmony.
Yeah, you have to as soon as you see the Jarvan coming in, the fear was down by the time the Jarvan was appearing. So you had a chance to flash. Jarvan doesn't have flash, so I feel like you have to flash away. And if he does
Dark Binding lands here, does
not enough damage though.
Decent bit of, yeah, not enough damage, especially with the Rek'Sai hanging there and thereabouts. But it was still it was a decent bit of damage. One that makes you kind of
go. It
go,
was a nice attempt, 100%.
Yeah. When that you kind of like throw a question mark on, say they're probably not going to do anything with it. But straight over to the top side, here's something that they very well might do. Is you're saying Mandan won't have flash, Cataclysm comes through, Pacebreaker doing quite a bit, but Ozzy's just going to walk away because Hextech Ultimatum says no. And yeah, good gank towards the top side of the map from TD Harmony again.
Yeah, and it's this time around they are getting the kills, and this is a pro.
Ooh, almost for
that was close.
Genetics. Yeah, I do like the idea. I would have most likely had lethal on it, and with that coming through, flash enchanted crystal from Old Man Genetics. However, the Dark Binding will miss. Flash away from Old Man Genetics. Won't quite come through, and the stun will land. Midnight Wisp going down. Kill picked up by Clip and Scrubs on the Morgana.
This game is going so badly in so many ways for the side of Zenigma. They are taking by trades, they are not hitting their skill shots. The only one that is ahead is Mandan, and even then he's losing NCS. So it's not like he's really ahead. Now the Referral, like, this is the type of game that we should have seen from the side of TD Harmony in the previous game, where they had early game potential and they didn't use it. Now the side of
Milky will use the smite on that. Rift Herald, and that'll keep the tower alive for now. Okay.
Yeah, but they're so bad. Like, it's 3,000 gold already in favor of Zenigma, of TD Harmony, where they are running a composition that will have a better time going into the later stage of the game. Zenigma doesn't have that. Like Rek'Sai is essentially doomed at this point because even with a CS lead, she's not finding any value anywhere. She's not doing anything. She's not even ahead in gold with the gold
Yeah.
CS lead.
Yeah. That was a bit of miscommunication. We had a slight one there, but it's all right. But yeah, all along this bot lane, these slows are going to come through. Auto attack after auto attack. Oh, great chompers used to stop what was looking to be a little bit dangerous from the bot lane of Zenigma Infinity there.
Yeah, they need to be careful. Even though they are getting they still need to be careful, but they already lost.
I was about to say, talk about being careful. We've got 4 members heading towards the bot side on Zenigma Infinity here, but all the while, hold on, Hopium and the Mandan. We were baited into believing there was going to be a fight, but no.
The problem is that if they fail that, then the game is essentially over. Like, I'm willing to call it at that point. If they fail that dive, the game is pretty much over for them. So, if they are going to take a bet, they have to at least make it so that that bet has better odds of them winning than them losing. Which is kind of hard to find at this point in the game.
Yeah, really. I mean, as you're saying, Rek'Sai definitely a very I guess not lane win game, but win jungle win lane. That one doesn't quite roll off the tongue as much though. But either way, still a very big early game focus on the Rek'Sai. But however, straight to the bottom lane, flash in for the Cataclysm, and Midnight Wisp has nowhere to go, and that is another kill going over to the side of TD Harmony.
It's just that easy to pull off, and it's just that hard for the side of Zenigma to be able to do anything. I really don't know what they can do. Like, I'm trying to think what the best path for them is.
Oh, hold on. Milky just might be caught out of position here. Doesn't even try to dodge the biting. They'll probably didn't have much place to go.
Yeah, they didn't even get it. No, okay. This is so bad for Zenigma.
Yeah, and all the while in the top lane, that'll free up this tower to be taken by Hopium, and the Mandan will have to use the Haymaker there, try to get himself alive. Flash in. Won't be enough for the Mandan to get away as the Hextech ultimatum comes down. That being said, they'll know where Ozzy is here. Knockup does come through. Decent bit of damage landing onto this Jarvan, though it's not quite enough as Ozzy heals back up with that Iron Spike whip. No, they're still looking to fight for the rest of this. Midnight Wisp will have to cleanse away. Targon won't quite die there, though he's on very low health. Tab the flashing away now, though. The health bars are starting to look very low on both sides. Ozzy missing the knockup there. Tabs is still managing to stay alive, and actually that's the shutdown going on Dash, but there's another kill. Quickly trade back over. Old Man Genetics will find that as Clip and Scrubs gets the binding and gets the reset onto his ADC, and that is yet another really good fight from TD Harmony. Perhaps not as clean as we've seen them throughout this game, but still absolutely impressive for them.
It feels like TD Harmony gives a little bit of hope with that fight and then takes it immediately away because they do get 2 kills onto the Jinx. They get so much gold value. 1 more play onto the pockets of the Jinx. This is just so much gold. 2, even 3. I just don't even know what else. How much is she getting? They can lose this dragon. It's not bad for them. Jinx needs to back them, but they can lose this dragon. It's not bad for the side of TD Harmony. They are just getting so much done in the rest of the map that
they might not even need to lose it as Hopium's trying to find damage onto Milky, forcing them out of the pit and losing advantage on positioning, and they don't have any vision in this pit. And you were saying that it doesn't feel bad if they don't get the dragon, but they very well might just take it anyway. There it is. TD Harmony picking up the Drake.
Yeah, it doesn't feel bad, but if they get it, then it feels great because
and I do like me some Hextech math in all honesty. That being said, Tabda really not being able to do much in that exchange between himself and Lost Times, even being up a level. So yeah. Well, Midnight Wisp actually maybe have caught out typing cooldowns or something, but he's going to have to flash away. Flash forward when Old Man X will follow, and yeah, that's going to be this Ashe going down. Not quite sure what would happen there from Midnight Wisp if he was in the shop or looking at the scoreboard, but he was definitely caught unaware.
He was contemplating life.
True. You know what? Sometimes they ask. Shoot, I can't think of names. Yeah.
Sometimes they do things and they don't work out. I think that's it.
Yeah,
That's
that
what.
works. We'll go
Yeah,
with that.
that's what we said. What it's not working out is this Rek'Sai pick. I don't know how much Milky has been playing Rek'Sai, but it's such a useless like I really hate this champion so much because one failed gank puts you so badly into this game. This is what we were talking about. The window of error. Oh wait, got that?
Oh, hold on. The engage trying to find its way onto tab. However, I don't believe that'll be enough as a few of those abilities still miss. And Chad the Crystal Arrow will not. Well, it will land, but the good black shield from Clip and Scrubs ensures that Old Man Genetics won't be CC'd and actually shared to the mid lane. Milky trying to find the damage onto Hopium, but it's just not quite enough. And all the while, it is just more dominance from TD Harmony so far here in Game 2.
Yeah, Rek'Sai dying once again, not doing anything, feels great. And on the top side, great kill onto the set. Yeah, they lose the turret, but overall, it's a nice kill that they get. And I see something really nice from Old Man Genetics that I don't see a lot of people doing, and it's clearing the minions. Like, people need to realize that if they clear the minions fast enough, the turret would help them get the kill. Like, unless you're in a really tough spot and you need to survive instead of trying to do something else, then it's not necessary. But in this time around, killing the minions does give you the extra farm, and then you will get the kill as well because the turret will, even though it falls down, it is extra help that you may end up getting. So really nice kill that they collect and just putting themselves even farther ahead. Right now, 7,000 gold lead in their favor. So nice for TD Harmony, and I feel like we're just waiting for the inevitable to happen at this point.
Yeah, we haven't quite. I think that the fight at around, was it like 10-ish minutes? That blew the game. I would say that was the one, if you wanted to say blew the game open. But we haven't really seen like one of those like, hold on, it's 5-4-1 and that extends the gold lead and map pressure to so much that it does now feel really insurmountable. But even still, as you were saying, it definitely does feel very hard. TD Harmony, they're feeling fine right now. Really easy. I was going to say Sunday drive, but it's Saturday, and actually Midnight Wisp might just be caught out here once more, and it's another kill going over to the side of TD Harmony. How many times have I said that so far tonight, as Fuzzy of Targon trying his best to get his way as fast as he can, but Hopium is just faster with that hook shot. That being said, Mandan with teleport in will try to find the stun onto Hopium. Fully charged on the grit, lands a bit of damage. Being the true damage, Showstopper will come through, will get that shutdown onto Camille. Clip and Scrubs will be able to stun them up here. Use the black shield to keep himself alive a little bit longer, and that CC won't land. Cataclysm now coming through from the Jarvan. Milky getting low, Milky going down. That's Clip and Scrubs picking up the kill, and that is the shutdown. That is another kill going on to Clip and Scrubs. However, the on vision here come through, flash forward from Mandan, and Clip and Scrubs will flash away to keep himself alive there. However, here comes Old Man Genetics on the Jinx.
Here comes
Did he not see him walk in? He must have not have. Actually, hold on. There it is. Yeah. You know, there was that little bit of hope when he didn't have vision and didn't notice where he was. That maybe Old Man Genetics. I mean, actually, the man could have pulled off a miracle play there, but no.
Hey, we have been accustomed to seeing the AD carry die contest, so it's not wrong to think that maybe this could have been the case. It's not the case. Jinx has 1.5 items. Like, Steady so far. I think they are equal level, if I'm honest.
I would imagine they probably are. Obviously, the death timers do cover up the portrait, so we can't quite see the level just for now. However, this is going to be Midnight Wisp going down once more, and followed up. Hopium does get the kill onto Fuzzy, and yeah, I mean, you're going to hear that a lot for the rest of this game, most likely.
Yeah, we're just waiting for TD Harmony to decide to stop styling and win the game, essentially, at this point.
Yeah,
like they don't need to keep padding stats. They can for red stats, but they don't need to, in all honesty.
Actually, hold on. Dark Binding does land onto Milky. Won't even be... Actually, no, will be able to get away. Just barely. However, Cataclysm is enough. Maybe a little bit overkill.
It was super kill.
This is being followed by the Super Mega Death Rocket. So, and I imagine that was most likely going to hit. But, I mean, they pick... It's securing it, you know.
Yep,
It's
and
what you
they
claim it to be.
get the mid. Oh, this is so much. They're getting mid lane turret without.
Hold on, and Chazza Chris arrow does land onto Ozzy. The will just
Red
flag
team's
drag
turret
away.
has been destroyed.
And yeah, we'll get that mid tower. However, Midnight Wisp was slowed up. We'll have to flash away. And that is yet another cooldown being expended for really nothing in return. And TD Harmony, I mean, I don't know how many other words I have to describe domination, but
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get a thesaurus at this point, and
I don't
might
even
be.
any more words. If in all honesty, I think that we've used enough already.
Yeah, that's a valid point. But it is also kind of play-by-play's rule to at least say some things.
Just say something. Keep the game going.
Yeah,
Until
but then again, maybe the subversion of expectations of literally just having a completely silent cast during team fights might catch viewership off guard. I mean, you never know. Theories and casting, perhaps. Have
casting theories is what we're evolving into because this game, it doesn't. It's pretty much depicted what is going to happen, but it's what we get.
Yeah, you know, I mean, never hurt to try. I mean,
True.
if your game for the next fight, literally both of us go silent until after it. I mean,
Wanna see try what happens when neither caster says anything for a whole team fight?
what is this? This is it is Runeterra Academy after all, and we are learning things not only as the players but as the casters too, and hopefully even behind the scenes from the staff members here. So I mean, you know, maybe not hurt to try one of these times. But all the while,
Learning experience.
honestly, it's currently we're just kind of just stalling for time here. Really, only the Baron is up for grabs, and I believe there still should be enough wave clear from this Victor to really prevent any towers being taken. However, Midnight was getting slowed up there.
Oh, unless they force a fight here. Oh.
No, that was intentional. Production was starting to get a little bit confused there. No, we're fine. I mean, it was actually really well played from the Mandan, almost being able to get a few kills onto the backline there, despite being as far down as they are. But
had more drinker there, he probably could have survived a little bit longer and made that fight more playable for them. I'm not sure why the decision to go go a stride breaker, if I'm honest, but I think that with Gore Drinker getting that extra healing there in that point of the fight would probably have changed a couple of things. I think they still lose it, don't get me wrong, but
maybe
maybe
picks up a kill or two there.
One more kill or two, yeah.
Yeah. And just by the way, I do want to apologize to our production to Wookie Monster, because that did I do understand how as a producer that all of a sudden both casters just stop speaking on a dime would kind of freak you out, but no, it's all fine. We're good. We're good.
We were
it's an art form, okay?
Exactly. It was just based on planning. Not quite like the planning from Zenigma this game, but it worked out a little bit better than them. 100%.
Yeah, definitely not exactly a repeat of, well, actually maybe you would say no, inverse of game one, or the opposite, or any sort of thing. It's very similar to what we saw in game one, except the team names have been swapped. So
in all honesty, I think that TD Harmony. Oh wait,
hold on. We're not going to be signed for this team fight. Is Fuzzy? Okay. I mean, we know the damage was incredible on the side of TD Harmony here, but that is completely down. Mandan Chinese is so showstopper, but not quite in getting as much damage as he did in that last fight. And hold on, Milky will force a flash out of genetics at the very least. We'll get the shutdown onto the Jinx. So very surprising there. However, will be followed up by the kill. Abda playing that X masterfully though. And you know, they're not. I would say it's unlikely considering they lost 4 members there in a 4-for-2 trade, as well as Soul Point going to be going over to the side of TD Harmony real soon. But it's still it's something, especially considering how this game has gone.
Exactly. Something it's better than nothing. Like if they had lost everyone, that's probably game, maybe, potentially,
Blue team
or
has slain the
maybe not,
dragon.
but still it would have been even worse previously. But they get 2 kills, they get shutdowns, so gold value going to their pocket. They lose the soul point, which I think was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But they get kills back, which I think is the most important thing. And Rek'Sai is not as useless as she was previously. 1-7 at least now.
Yeah, he's getting on the board there, getting feeling. It does. It still does feel really bad for the side of Zenigma, but you look forward to the small things. Sometimes when you're in a situation where it's so bad, once you do, you have to say, okay, well, this whole game was bad, but Midnight Wisp is gone. Oh.
She was there.
Hold on. Oh, that was actually really close from lost times. Almost getting the second part of that ultimate landing onto Fuzzy there, but not quite. And I'm sure with how much damage that lost times has, that probably would have been a second kill. But.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, side of TD Harmony is just essentially bullying the side of Zenigma because they are just going for those kills so aggressively. They are not trying to force fight. Jarvan messed up an EQ combo, just saying. Just wanted to point that out. Not doesn't matter that much, but he did fail, so shame on him. And
that's how you know you're really pulling for things to criticize when you say, oh, well, Jarvan missed a flag and drag, but
yeah.
Which I guess is not very common, but then at the same time, not exactly.
You would be surprised
worst.
the amount of times that combo gets messed up. I cannot. It's like the Alistar combo.
Oh yeah, true.
Made to be easy to pull off, and people still fail it.
I think with the Alistar combination with the headbutt pulverize though, is the difference there is that one's point and click and the other is kind of a skill shot-ish sort of situation where you do have to you have to place the flag in the correct spot
You
and
have
then
to move your mouse.
and then you do have to click drag onto the flag, and technically the flag has the longer range than the drag, so if you don't step forward a little bit you can just flat out miss it, but
now
I mean it's still definitely not the most mechanically intense sort of thing to pull off.
Yeah, now if they fail the flash, flag and drag, I would be okay with that, but failing the normal one just seems strange to see, if I'm honest. I don't know.
I would like to join you on that one, but I can count the amount of times that I've missed very easy abilities on not even on my hands and all my fingers and toes. So it would be very hypocritical of me to agree with you on that. So
I've never failed anything, so yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Never in my life.
Yeah, no, whatsoever. Yeah, never. No, of course not. Of course.
Oh,
Asher will land, but yeah.
They tried.
They tried.
Yeah,
it's better than falling over and dying, especially in a competitive environment. Because I know this is most likely a game that you would have seen forfeited at like 17 minutes in a solo queue environment. But
at 15 sharp, it should have been
15 sharp.
Yeah.
So it's sitting in base with the pause menu open, or not really pause menu because it's a multiplayer game, but the menu open, like spamming, clicking surrender as fast as possible.
There's psychopaths like that, in all honesty, but
yeah, honestly, I
don't condone those actions. I don't think it's right to do it. But I gotta be honest. I think if my Rek'Sai did what happened in this game, I can understand. I would think that would happen in solo queue. I think it would have been a 15-minute sharp surrender. Now we don't condone those actions in Runeterra Academy. Don't do them. You're a bad person if you do. That's
I don't personally have anything wrong with forfeiting at 15 minutes. It's only when somebody sits in base and doesn't play until 15 minutes.
I don't condone those actions.
Like there's a difference between saying, well, we'll try our best until 15 minutes, maybe something will turn around and it doesn't, then you forfeit, but sitting in base. But we don't condone sitting in base and constantly spamming surrender. However, got a fight coming through. Dark Binding will land onto the Mandan, and a lot of damage coming through, but not quite enough to find any kills early on here. Instead, positioning still largely favoring the side. Oh my god. Wow. The amount of damage. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a bit it's expected at this point, but
Oh, they get a kill?
they got a kill. Midnight Wisp did actually get a kill, but that is the triple kill going over to this Camille, and that'll be game 2. Hopping off at the end, and we will most likely confirm a game 3.
I'm honestly, I honestly don't know how this game took 30 minutes after what happened in the early game, but like they took the safe path towards winning, and I can kind of respect that. So at least they are now closing it out. Still 1-1 for TD Harmony. Nice change up in the game, and I'm pretty sure we're not getting that Rek'Sai once again in the next. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, it looked good for like 4 minutes there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 4 minutes, but yeah, as we've mentioned multiple times throughout this game, is that once Rek'Sai had that first death go against her, yeah, other than that one shutdown onto Jinx, it was practically not. She was practically not even a champion, and yeah. So even though potentially a comfort, sort of comforting sort of thing, I would probably like to see a change up in that as well. But on that note, I do believe there's not much else to say about that game, and we're going to send it to a break. And when we come back, we'll get to the decisive game 3 for this match between Zenigma Infinity and TD Harmony. See you then. And after a first 2 games, we are back for the final time tonight for game 3 between Zenigma Infinity. It's still not exactly the easiest sort of thing to get off the tongue, but it is Enigma Infinity versus TD Harmony. TDS. We saw two very one-sided games so far.
I would say the second one even more than the first one.
Yeah.
Like in the first one, you could see some potential here and there until there wasn't in 20 minutes. I think in the second one at 20, you could pretty much tell what was going to happen. So it just felt much more dominant the second one, especially because of the some of the champions that were played, because there was no condition to come back. There was no way that they could turn it around, which I think was the most important part of the second game. Now, for this game, I hope that Zenigma does up not necessarily into a late game composition or anything like that, but a composition that gives you much more power. Like, I think if you want Rek'Sai, Lee Sin is a better option because he does have much more power later on in the game than the Rek'Sai. So there's better options for champions that are similar that you can do much more with, and I would like to see that out of TV out of in this.
Well, you were kind of cutting out there
Oh,
at the end.
I hope my point was heard. Anyway,
Well, either way, we've kind of reiterated that same point quite a few times, though.
true.
For those who might just be tuning in, may not be aware um, of what had happened so far in this series. In Game Two, Rek'Sai, as I've said, looked good for about 5 minutes, but then yeah, one failed gank, and then was all downhill from there.
But then Rek'Sai happened,
Yeah,
and
Rek'Sai thing,
that's it.
yeah. But we do actually we are taking a little bit longer because there was a mention from Midnight Wisp that they need a few more minutes, perhaps bathroom breaks, perhaps a bunch of other things. Didn't really
Prep.
specify what, but all the while that does give us a few more minutes to kind of sit around and what are we on about? Hmm?
Well, we can talk about a little bit of what I think TD Harmony did quite good in this game, and actually something that I think Zenigma did well, even though it fell completely into the ground. There was something that I think Zenigma did quite well, and was the first 2 minutes of the first 2 to 3 minutes in the game, because we need to remember that before the Jarvan was a powerhouse and he was actually able to impact the map, Rek'Sai was so heavily ahead of him. Like there was, I think, at more than a 10 CS lead at 10 before 10, like at 4 minutes or something. She
Yeah,
was counter jungling in the enemy jungle, and if not for that disastrous skill at the start of the game, she probably could have just continued ramping up, get one or two more ganks that would have impacted the game, and then turn around the game more in favor of Zenigma. But like the condition for Rek'Sai is that if you fail once, it can just essentially destroy your complete game. But on the other side, I think for TD Harmony, much really really important the two things that happened this game. First, the much more action out of Aussie than we had in the first game from Hopium. I think that was really important because we saw in the first 10 minutes quite a lot of ganks out of the Jarvan, which enabled a really strong snowball out of TD Harmony. And then secondly, I think as well in the top lane, we saw much more domination out of Hopium. Like yes, Hopium dies, but it's not like it mattered that much. The Camille was able to keep on pushing the wave. They got the Herald, they gave the resources to the Camille, and the rest of the map survived by themselves quite well. Which means that if you provide that much attention to the Camille and she gets as much gold as she did, she can then begin to translate that pressure to the rest of the map, and then the snowball just keeps on moving around and getting bigger and bigger. And I think that that's something that TD Harmony did quite well in this previous game compared to their first game where they lost in a matter of 15 to 20 minutes.
yeah, and perhaps the switch of the jungle and top around. In that game one, it was Ozzy playing in the top lane instead of Hopium, and Hopium was in the jungle. And for those who may be familiar with the with TD Harmony as a roster, the reason why Solus is not in is that there is a rule where if a player is absent for more than 21 days, or in this case would be 3 game weeks, they
Yeah.
are technically no longer a part of the roster, and putting them back in is fine so long as you get it done before the day of, but it came in between game two, and if Solus was to be put back into the roster, it would result in the first 3 bans for TD Harmony being not eligible, so they decided to continue on with Aussie.
Yeah, it's kind of an unlucky situation, but it does happen. And like we pointed out, it is a league that does enforce the rules quite heavily, even just the bans or anything like that. It is something that does impact the decision
Oh,
making
good,
and the things
we're
that happen
in.
in the league. And yeah,
we're at the
they say
draft.
that we
There we
are
are.
finally.
All right. It's been a while, probably more than a minute. I was going to say a minute, but probably more than that. But here
They
we
do
are.
like to make us wait.
Wait, I see an R from Midnight Wisp and Mandan, but they have not started. Wait a second, are they debating us?
They said R, so we're hoping that it's okay.
No, I still see the wait. It's saying waiting on the draft lol.
Okay, yeah, they say R both, so we should be. We
Yeah,
should be
any. Oh,
nice. Yeah, no, we're in the draft already. It's fine.
yeah. There we go. I mean, yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, bit of a mistake, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll just there was I believe it was Targon who then dodged and rejoined immediately. We will actually have the draft in the draft law. We didn't miss draft. And so here we go through. Gangplank is the first ban on the side of Zenigma Infinity.
Yeah, we saw it in the previous game, the ban coming in the second round. This time it's the first round instead. Just showing that there's potential from Hopium to take that Gangplank in the top lane and potentially play a bit more of a weak side, maybe, if they opt into that. Now, Taric being banned away once again, they really don't want to play against the Taric, and if it's a champion that you don't have that much, that you're not that accustomed to playing against, it's better to just take it away and don't allow for something bad to happen to you. The Camille ban I like. She's such a safe champion in the top lane. She can do so much by herself, and she also is quite good in team fighting compared to other bruisers, which makes her such a good all-rounder as a champion.
Yeah, that Hextech ultimatum really does a lot of work, especially if a fight takes place in what aren't traditionally considered choke points in the jungle. And like if you just got a lane brawl, not really able to go anywhere, find a good flank off that. I mean, the amount of lockdown it can provide is absolutely immaculate. So either way, we will see Jinx banned away for the first time this series, so we won't see it picked first once again.
It has 100% win rate, so
it does.
So far, it makes sense.
Yeah, that is a valid point. TDH perhaps keeping that on. And if I actually, because I normally cast Junior, but actually won't be able to be there tomorrow, unfortunately. So I'm here today. But I know at least in the junior league, that Jinx is, I want to say like upwards to like an 87% presence across every single game, and
it wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, it really wouldn't be surprising at all, honestly. And that's just how influential this pick can be. However, you see Kai'Sa getting hovered.
First time in the series that she's open.
Yeah.
Both teams banned away. This can still be Kai'Sa bot lane, but there's the Kai'Sa mid lane that is so popular right now. I love watching Kai'Sa, and the poke is so strong if you can play around it really well. So I like this first pick. It also now enables for Hecarim that we haven't seen yet in the series, but I think Hecarim can be a really nice pick against the Kai'Sa, particularly because of the fear that you get with the Onslaught of Shadows. It's Morgana getting picked here, and are we getting maybe a Caitlyn Morgana pairing here potentially?
Potentially. I'll also say, I know you mentioned this in the last pick and ban, but those who might just be tuning in, is that lost times on the side of TD Harmony is, in fact... Oh, it's locked in! Okay, we get Twitch game 3 for TD Harmony.
I'm not sure where it was, when it was, or how it was, but I got a Twitch, I think, this week as well. And it was interesting. At the end, I think it won. The Twitch didn't quite shine, but the damage that the Twitch does is apparent, especially in later stage fights. So this is going to be quite fun. The problem is that you're taking Twitch against a Hecarim Orianna. If you miss position just by a little bit, you're destroyed. You're going to get completely annihilated. But that means as well that this is going to be a Kai'Sa bot lane.
Yeah, more than likely. Definitely not going to be not the strongest counter pick in terms of that, at least with the ADCs. Mostly as a result of the range or the lack thereof in the early levels.
Yeah.
And all the while, I think what I find to be a little bit interesting is that Vex is locked in for TDH. So even though I was kind of hoping to see some more incredible flexes from the side of TD Harmony, as Zeniga did in the first game, we won't be seeing that this time around.
Yeah, I feel like the kind of surprise goes away a little bit later on when you are much deeper into the series, but it's still nice to see sometimes. Now the bans went through so quickly. We got one top laner, two junglers, and the Renata from the bot lane getting banned away. I feel like you take top lane jungle here since you already know what the Hecarim is and more than likely where it's going. Xin Zhao is still an option that you can opt into. I think Lee Sin is banned away, so I'm not sure about that. But I wouldn't be against something like a Diana or a Graves here, if I'm honest. Maybe something more tanky like a Sejuani or a Zac, but Diana ends up getting
Yeah.
picked. And I'm not against this pick, especially because your team is kind of hovering into team fighting composition much more.
Yeah, and we saw how effective that was for TD Harmony last time out as well. And so, with that ability to come through it, we got Leona!
Okay, wow.
I know
This
it's
is
not
such a-
uncommon, but
Yeah, no, but I'm not against the Leona here either, just because you do have a Kai'Sa, and one of the things that you play around with the Kai'Sa always is level 2 power spike. It's something that I think only Kai'Sa and Tristana have in common, where your level 2 power spike is so strong that if you can engage correctly, or you have an engaged partner that does engage with you, you can just destroy the enemy later. So I think that that's why I like the Leona. Now for the Ornn, I think something like Jace maybe is something that they opt into here. Tryndamere instead,
Tryndamere,
or the split
okay.
pushing potential maybe, and also the solo kill potential. I feel like Ornn is one of the more usable champions to storm the Tryndamere because you can really just push the wave and run away. And you go for the what is called the Warmogs, and you can just continuously survive. Like unless he dives you, which he can, but you have so much CC as well that it's quite hard to kill the Ornn. I think that if you die consistently as Yorn against the Tryndamere, it does have to do quite a bit with Doom is playing it, but I feel like this is such a safe composition by Zenigma, something really similar to what we have in the first game, a front to back teamfight composition, and quite an easy way to access the backline when you think about it. You have Hecarim Onslaught of Shadows, you have Leona R, as well as just the full champion Leona that just can engage like she wants, and then you have the Call of the Ornn God, the call of the
Forge God.
Forge God.
I like Call of the Ornn God though.
Yeah. That's
the
actually
Ornn Horn.
that's not even that bad
that.
actually.
Yeah,
But
honestly, I don't
you have such a great way to engage in this composition that it's just so nice for Zenigma, and TD Harmony has so many squishy champions. Teamfights need to be worked out so well by TD Harmony because if they get engaged on, they can get destroyed, and then you really don't have anything to fall into.
Yeah, and not only that, there's also a really good dual damage threat with Orianna having a very easy way to get the ball into the back line and just following up on that CC, which you were mentioning. All of it comes very well together in a very cohesive and understandable game plan.
Yeah, the risk I think and reward for both teams is much higher for Zenigma because risk and reward wise, they have good risk, good reward. TD Harmony has a lot of risk and good reward in my opinion. Like it's not that it's going to be quite a great reward. Maybe in the sense that since there's only 2 carries or 2 squishes and they are quite heavy damage dealers, if they can destroy them with their champions that realistically Diana, Tryndamere, and Vex can do, then that can be an easy way for them to win teamfights overall. But I feel like the risk in this composition is so high for TD Harmony, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and I would have to agree. I think that especially with Leona as well, one thing that she can also do, which is not as common, but she could definitely play more defensively as well. And with Tryndamere especially, who's the one that sticks out to me the most, because you think, oh, he goes unstoppable, but if he can't move, does it really matter?
Yeah, if he gets CC'd for eternity, then his survivability matters just the same as any normal champion. So, and I feel like you have enough out of the side of TD of Zenigma to be able to play around this Tryndamere. That's also why I think I would like the Tryndamere to just stay eternally split pushing, not fighting, because if he can create pressure through a split pushing, I think that would favor much more TD Harmony, because if you can pull away the Ornn and maybe another champion, then team fighting becomes way more easy for the side of TD Harmony. But if the Tryndamere joins, then you just need to know how to lock up or layer your CC against TD Harmony's composition, and then it's going to be much more easy for them to play around. One thing that I wanna do, that I do wanna note, because Morgana was just hovered and she's an important champion in the whole context thanks to the Black Shield, but since she can only Black Shield one champion, if it's not Tryndamere, then I think everyone else will be quite in danger. Like, I think Tryndamere can survive by himself, but you would like to put the Black Shield into Tryndamere so that he can do his job. But if you put the Black Shield onto Tryndamere, everyone else just becomes such an easy to kill target that then the teamfight becomes quite risky as well. So it's kind of a hard choice for Morgana.
Yeah, and especially with Kaisa with that killer instinct being able to access the backline whenever.
Yeah.
It can also be used as an ability to say, no, you don't get to lock me down today, and especially with all of this long range engage from the side of Zenigma Infinity, can definitely be one to say, just jump away from whoever gets Black Shielded if it is somebody who is looking to go in that does receive that CC immunity.
Yeah, it's going to be quite hard. It's going to be quite important that TD Harmony doesn't try and play this without a correct idea, because they can get punished quite heavily. But I'm not saying that they don't have a chance. Like, they have good scaling as well, so they can fight in the later stage of the game. It's just that they have to be much more careful about how they opt into fights and how they try to play fights in comparison to Zen.
And with that said, we will send it to a spectator delay. We will be back with the final game theory between Zenigma Infinity and TD Harmony for not only the last time this stream. Wow, hold on. Words, English. For the last time this stream also will be for the last time of this regular split. So we'll see you then. And we are back for a third and final game 3 between Zenigma Infinity and TD Harmony.
30
And
seconds
it
until
won't
minions
quite have
spawn.
some level 1 shenanigans like we saw last time out. So, TDS, just go honestly, want to just throw it to you. Carry me here.
Shame. Shame. How can they not force a
Oh.
level 1? Shame.
Oh, I thought you were shaming me at first for just
Yeah,
throwing
no,
it over.
no. I
I
would
got a little bit sad there. I was like, I
I
just.
would never shame my co-caster. I would shame the teams. I would never shame my co-caster. Never.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I got a little bit sad there, but no, it's fine. Perhaps
Minions
a
have
slight
spawned.
potential suspicion from Clip and Scrubs standing in that bush with Old Man Genetics, but yeah, no, they're just lining up as 5, trying to get the. It is something interesting though that I just noticed is in the bottom times that Targon placed down a ward and then went back and changed for an Oracle lens. So normally it's something you see from only the jungler when it does happen, but now we've got two very Oracle scanners from the side of Zuniga Infinity.
I quite like it early on, especially because there's sometimes when there's a clear ward for your jungler to get spotted on in the tri-bush or in the bush, in the river bush. So I like it a lot, especially if you can make use of it. And it's not like you lose on not using the ward, since you essentially can just go back and get it back. Like that's why the timers are so well used, and that's why we see most of the time the junglers changing it. So I'm a really a really big fan of supports doing this because it allows a lot for the team as well.
Yeah, and one thing that is a little bit underrated as well is especially the amount of vision control, especially with how the bushes have been changed when Alco added. Not quite finding the Zenith Blade landing there. Is that the amount of vision control that Leona can exert? We're even seeing now in this lane. Yeah, look,
Like this.
lightning comes through, and there it is. Even though they'll know that Targon's in this bush, the inability to actually see the exact location and targets Targon with auto attacks or point and click abilities definitely feels really good as Leona. And yeah, it was nice that we got a demonstration of that on command. So
Yeah.
I feel happy about that.
Like it's great seeing why we talk about certain things sometimes in cast. So it's great that we get the showing of it, and is also thanks to the showing of the Oracle now that when they get this back timing, if the Leona does opt into changing the Oracle, which curiously I don't think she does.
Doesn't look like it,
So
no. Yeah.
yeah, she doesn't quite change it. So it's not bad. Like she can keep it up. I think that because she's keeping the Oracle lens, that's why she went with the ping words. But overall, I think that you do get quite a good value if you're able to use it correct. Now, Diana hovering around bot side jungle, trying to maybe threaten a gank. Leona doesn't spot
Yeah.
her, so
Uh, ooh. I feel like she would have walked over a few of those wards, no? Like, she might not have seen Diana walk further into the jungle, but should know. I think they should know that
Don't
Ozzy
know.
is in and around there, but I'm not too sure. But it looks like, since not knowing the exact location, we'll just walk away. Not quite finding
Oh,
anything
Hikaru
there. That
top.
actually opens up a gank to the top side. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, director camera. Yeah.
Thank
There's
you
one
for
thing-
telling us that that doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, there is one thing about because of the spectator delay, a lot. Oh, hold on, wait, we do have a game towards this bottom side. That's Old Man Genetics getting spotted out. Flash through, Ignite does come through, gets the first blood, going on to the Leona now. However, Midnight Wisp is in a little bit of a strange spot, does go down after that gank from Ozzy does come through. Dark Binding will land, and still quite a bit of damage coming onto Targon, though. The Shield of Daybreak still up, not really going to take too much damage there, especially these early levels.
Yeah, and Diana doesn't back from the position that she was, so that actually helps for the gank to work out. Twitch goes into the visibility, but because the Leona kept the Oracle lens, like we talked about, not changing it actually was useful here. Unlucky for the Kai'Sa because the exhaust was so important. The exhaust actually made it so that the Kai'Sa didn't get the kill, and then the Leona takes it with Ignite. And I think that is an important difference. Not giving the kill away to your carry is much better than giving it to the support. So overall, nice trade in the bot lane. I really want to commend both teams because I think that it was smart from both sides. And even though it's a 1-for-1, the kills do go into the Diana.
I'm going to have to cut you off here. Is Milky? Yeah, I mean, it was a gank.
It didn't work out, but it was.
On Hopium. Doesn't look like he's one to stop. I mean, we saw Ozzy moving up in the river there. It would have been interesting to see how the rest of that would have played out, especially with the wave starting to push towards that central portion of the lane. Hold on, only in genetics though. Trap's trying to find something a little bit sneaky with actually.
That is
invisibility
not that good,
one out there. Yeah, no, it really isn't, because look at where the wave is in the bottom lane. He's going to miss at least a few minions there.
Also, you shared XP with your mid laner, so you kind of are screwing your mid laner to a certain degree as well. Not getting value in minions. Like, the difference was that level 6 diff. So if, for example, there was an engaged potential there for Itapia, and the Vex didn't have level 6, there's a potential kill there that you can take advantage of as Orianna. It didn't happen at that point, but it's something to keep in mind, especially because if those type of ganks don't work out, it is quite impactful later on.
Yeah, and especially with Orianna having the likes of Leota and Hecarim available as her allies, being able to land the shockwave is, well, not really all that difficult. So it definitely feels, for that short period of time, it definitely does feel really good in favor of Orianna. However, we really won't. We won't get the benefit of these teams demonstrating exactly what we say, exactly as it happens this time around, unfortunately.
It's the power of the caster. You get one chance to make it work out. You decide when, but you don't get a second chance. So we have to use it smartly, right?
True. Yeah, absolutely. But all the while, we're starting to see how this motley's starting to push out a little bit, and maybe as it looks like Diana's starting to path towards the bottom side, perhaps the first strike looking like, hold on, Dark Binding does land onto the Fuzzy, taking a little bit of damage. Shield of Daybreak will stop damage there. But yeah, Diana's pathing towards the bot side with the first dragon up.
Yeah, and not much attention to that first dragon like we have seen in the previous games. Also, I'm quite surprised, to be honest, in this game, with the amount of attention that Milky has had on topside. We have had 2 ganks already by the Hecarim against that Tryndamere, and I feel like bot lane should have been a place where you look for the ganks, because I think that Ornn can kind of survive by himself. You really want to put this rat as far behind as possible. I mean, the Twitch, obviously.
Oh, hold on. Ghost has been used, got those first few crits now, and that is a lot of damage coming up from Hopium. Call for the Forge God will come through, but wow, Hopium just runs him down. Targon will go down in the early part of this fight. Midnight Wisp having the Killer Instinct available just yet, so won't be able to get that much damage. Ozzy, though, going low. Ozzy going down. And with these health bars low on the side of Zenigma Infinity, they're most likely going to walk away, especially as they'll spot out lost times on that control ward, though Midnight Wisp did hit level 6, will dodge that Shadow Surge, but it still won't be enough as Lost Times does get the kill through the Ignite. And that'll be quite a few minions there being missed in terms of golden experience for Midnight Wisp.
Almost 2 waves, because they lose one already under turret, and then this one that it's getting lost. Really nice kill by Lost Times. I gotta quickly talk about what... Oh, wait.
Hold on.
Is coming
The
as well.
engage does come through, but the Black Shield does keep clipping Scrubs alive for now, but with no mana left on Old Man Genetics, that'll be a return kill going over to Milky.
Yeah, and Leona pretty much soloed the two of them, because even though the Hikrim is the one that collects the kill, she essentially kept them in place by herself. Really nice by Tarkon. They get the kill on the Twitch, so making the situation not as bad as it was originally. Oh wait, he started Dragon.
Yeah, we were out of the times to start the Drake. Here we are now with it. Targon activating Shield of Daybreak, not quite finding the engage here, so that'll be about a 10-second period in which going to be a little bit squishier than expected.
Oh, Shockwave in.
Oh, Shockwave lands without any sort of assistance. Midnight Wisp picking up that kill with the isolated Q onto Ozzy there, and that'll be the first Drake secured by Zenigma Infinity.
Yeah, and Ozzy was trying to look for an angle to maybe force the fight. The ultimate by Ozzy just came up, which in the previous fight, and we didn't get to talk about this, but Ozzy flashed in and used the ultimate wrongly. He pre-casted before getting the damage and then flashed in, losing everything. Ooh. And that's why he didn't have flash for this fight either. So with the ultimate, maybe he could have flashed in, ulti in, and then maybe get something down. But because he didn't have the
flash. He's looking towards the mid lane, and Lost Times has no mana here, so won't be able to get that fear more than likely. However, Ozzy's in and around here, so is Hopium. The fear will land with that mana regen coming through. Tabda going low, Tabda going down as well, and that's 2 for 0 in the mid lane, but straight over to the bot lane. Fuzzy Targon is eventually taken down. However, Old Man Genetics is spotted.
Oh no!
Oh! Will flash away while invisible. So even though I believe he was within range of being spotted by Midnight Wisp, won't be able to get any auto attack down. Yeah, and he will stay alive.
I think the main problem with that one is that he was in range to be spotted. The Kai'Sa spots him, but Kai'Sa uses Akkadian Rain, which means that she hits the minion, not the Twitch, and that was the whole damage getting lost. So quite unlucky for the Kai'Sa.
I actually didn't. I saw that happen, but I did not know that's how that interaction works, and that actually feels.
I thought
she
should. I thought you focus the first target you see, but I think maybe the range for the minion was closer to the Twitch. Or if the Kai'Sa had auto attacked the Twitch, then maybe the full Akkadian Rain focused onto the Twitch. I'm not quite sure how that is supposed to work, but because it focused on the minion, she lost the kill potential there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the very least they get a flash out of a relatively immobile carry, and definitely something they can target in the future. But yeah, overall, still really good from TD Harmony.
Yeah, also important to point out, Kai'Sa State is going for the AT route instead of the much more poke potential route, and I'm not sure if I'm fully behind it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's actually not bad, and you can make it work out. The problem is that with the poke one against so much squishy members, like, you can find so much value. So, like, it would have been okay in this game. I'm not against the AD route this game, but the poke build would have been great to see.
Yeah, and hold on, Hopium running in, uses the ghost, does have the undying range, not doing as much damage on each auto attack as he does now. All of Lord God will be used. So, Summoner Spell, though, a really low cooldown one, used in trade, and we're actually not done in around this top side. Shadow Surge does land onto Milky, and yeah, as you said, no ulti available, shut down going over to this Diana for Ozzy, and so starting to feel real good for TD Harmony. They've had a very solid last couple of minutes. Actually, they just might look to continue this. Hopium still does have the Undying Range, yeah. And there it is. Yeah, Undying Rage will just keep him alive as Hopium walks away. Will have to flash out to stay alive. And actually, hold on. Old Man Genetics finding Midnight Wisp, getting quite a few auto attacks down. They're not enough to find the kill, but definitely enough to push him away from that tower.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised to see the Leona out of lane, because you don't need to have the Leona in mid lane, especially when you know where Lost Time is. Like, Lost Time was in mid, so you essentially 100% know what is supposed to happen. Oh wait.
Hold on, Milky not knowing
the flash in.
Ozzy trying to find the flash in on to the jungler, but won't find the kill there. But we'll get the teleport out of Tabda.
Yeah, quite a forced teleport out of Tabda, really not achieving anything without teleport. Not even, I don't think you even protect the Mommy Milky. I think you essentially just need to run away as Mommy Milky, and you probably can achieve that. But this is such a harsh situation for the side of Zenigma when you look at it. Like, even though it's not that big of a gold deficit, they are losing in almost every front in terms of just sheer damage and strength right now. And even though they have gold CS leads in almost every lane, like they don't have a gold lead for themselves. And now without the what is it called, the platings, it's not like they can collect a much more gold into their pockets. They are really dependent on either bounties or being able to get a shutdown from someone. And the only one right now that has one is a Diana. So it's not the most ideal of situations for Enigma. It's not like they are done, but it's not that great for them either.
Yeah, and but especially in comparison to the games we've seen so far this series,
Yeah.
definitely not nearly as one-sided.
Oh,
However,
no.
Dark Binding will land onto this Orianna and will try to stay alive as long as possible. But Hopium does finally get that kill. However, Fuzzy does get the kill onto this Tryndamere. And the Binding will land getting the kill onto that support. However, lost times as well out of position here. Milky will get that first kill. The Forge God does come through as the teleports become unleashed. Double kill for this Hecarim. That being said, ult's available. That being said, does go out of range, but will get the kill onto Kaisa. Here comes Milky once more. Old Man Genetics getting low, going down. Now Ozzy trying to jump away, but without the second dash available, will get the kill onto the Orn, but won't be enough. And that is yet another kill going over to the Hecarim. So I believe that was 3 kills overall going onto the on the
I don't know about, I'm not sure about this, if I'm honest.
Oh yeah, he's starting it, but they know they're there, and then a lot of the time death times have come
Don't
back.
hit the ping ward.
Almost there. Milky.
Oh, he got it.
He will get it. He will get it. Actually, this just might be enough to get the kill here. Hopium will have the Undying Rage back available to him, though. Milky trying to hop away will get that shutdown onto the Tryndamere. However, doesn't have it anymore and still fairly low, but will have the comfort.
I don't think you ever fight that as the Hecarim, if I'm honest. I think you should have kind of disengaged. Like, you already got everything. You got 3 kills, you got the dragon, you just disengage, and everything works out great. Oh,
Tabda not spotted out here. Tabda doing a lot of damage though, and actually this was really ill-advised from Old Man Genetics. Flash and auto attack. Tabda gets the kill in the fight that Old Man Genetics decided to take himself.
So I'm kind of curious what went through Old Man Genetics' mind to think that I can certainly kill this Orianna before she one-shots me with her full combo, which is a typical thing out of Orianna. It's not like she didn't have a full Ludens completed. So kind of optimistic.
Does land onto Leona here though. Targon
no
not
flash.
Really having too much of his team around him. Still very tanky though, but it won't be enough as Tabda's going low. Gotta fight in the mid lane there.
No run.
Midnight Wisp, hold on, just might be caught out here. Ghost used by Hopium trying to find his way onto this ADC, and that is another kill coming through. And he doesn't have the Undying Rage available. Will get the shutdown onto that Kaisa. Ozzy now in a very difficult situation. And a little bit of showboating from Milky, knowing that he didn't even need to auto attack there to pick up the kill. And straight up in top lane, we got another fight. Old Man Genetics really just tickling. There we go.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if you don't die at that point against Mandan. Although Mandan doesn't have any item, essentially he's just full of components, so it's not like he deals a lot of damage. But he's still an Ornn. You need to be careful about his damage. His deceptive amount of damage. But looking at the rest, no,
I was about to say, Ornn's the tank bruiser assassin mage support.
The greatest tank in the game, I agree. And the greatest tank is looking to do the Herald.
And actually, they're right. Yeah, they definitely have the positioning on this Rift Herald. Old Man Genetics' invisibility will run out. I believe this will most likely be the Herald going over to Zenigma Infinity, trying to steal it there as Flippin's website. Very good stuff from the side of Zenigma Infinity to potentially
Wisp.
Something there. However, Midnight Wisp will be flashed on teleport coming through. Is doing quite good for himself, but the Undying Rage is just too much from Hopium. However, Tabda's now here, and with that move speed from the teleport, it is unlikely that I see this.
Getting outplayed.
Yeah, just press W next to the Tryndamere with the ball on himself, and nothing else will happen there. However, is completely baited by the empty control ward.
He ulted?
Yeah, we'll be able to live through that though. And yeah, did manage to Black Shield the unstoppable onslaught, so won't actually go down there. That being said, exhaust was burned as a result.
That was quite a useless, quite wasted ultimate from the Hickory, if you ask me honestly. But
Yeah,
they do get the turret. They do get the, like you pointed out, the exhaust was used. Oh, tap that.
Tabda not quite seeing that. Lost Times is here. That being said, Lost Times not quite finding the kill immediately.
Ooh.
Oh, that'll be enough as he lands that ability and the solo kill going over to Lost Times' Vex.
Yeah, it's great seeing Bex, the supposedly just anti-mobility mage, be able to burst out champions. Like that's
Yeah,
certainly how it was supposed to be designed, right?
yeah. I think overall I think Vex was like probably one of the best new champions in like the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I do agree.
But
I
it's
like
still
her a
kind
lot.
of hilarious that yeah, this is anti mobility mage identity, and her ultimate is we can fly halfway across the screen, halfway across the rift to your location multiple times. It is a
Yeah.
bit strange of a design choice there, but overall, I actually do. I am actually quite a fan of Vex's.
Like I love Vex. I think she's such a fun champion to watch. I just think that the next time someone tells me that she's supposed to be anti-mobility, I hope that they get kicked because that's simply not true. Like the amount of times I've seen Vex one shot a champion better than someone like a LeBlanc or an Ari, it's just sickening to a certain degree. Now I do love Vex, but
Yeah, no,
fake truth. It's not true.
it's more so the one shotting in the same way that LeBlanc would from like I
Yeah.
said from nowhere. It's not necessarily that she can one shot because I mean Lux can if she lands one binding onto a onto a specific target can very easily one shot with
Yeah.
a few items under her belt. But yeah, so it is a bit strange the whole anti-mobility champion can fly halfway across the map. So we've got a Drake coming up and potentially a fight coming through. I don't know if they have any vision on this bush, but
Currently
Clifton
used those.
Scrubs has the
Oh.
intuition to say not there. Unstoppable Onslaught is actually stoppable by a Black Shield though.
Okay, so there
That's
was two ultimates used in that exchange. Oh,
So
which?
Genetic, I believe it was Scott.
Oh
out
no,
there.
he was spotted.
He's slowed by the solar flare, and with that, Midnight Wisp using Killer Instinct to get the fly onto the back line. Coldford
Oh.
got not quite fine anywhere. That being said, he flashes in. Mandan knocking up a few there. Ozzy trying to find the way onto the back line, but the Locket of the Iron Solar is being used up there by his canonical champion. And all the while, Ozzy has nowhere to go, and it is an absolutely dominant fight from Zenigma Infinity. And they'll go to Storm Point off this one as well.
Yeah, great fight by Zenigma, but so much important things happening from the side of TD Harmony to make that work out for Zenigma. Maybe another
Lost
engage here.
Times
They
is in
have
a
full
really
space.
difficult position here.
Oh,
Flash still
what?
available from Fargon, and there it is. Lost Times has nowhere to go. Might actually find the kill on the Tad. No, the burn off. But still, yeah.
I call BS on that flash Zenith Blade. That should not have hit last times. I'm sorry, but that is BS, I swear. Anyway, ignoring
There's
that.
also another thing, just as a small mechanical thing, because I do like playing Leona a lot, is that you can actually start casting your E, and so you can E flash, and it gives you the opponent a lot less time to react. But that's more of a small thing that I noticed.
Okay, that is something that I didn't know, and it's actually quite nice to know.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that the hitbox, that's fake. That hitbox shouldn't have hit it. Now,
I mean,
speaking about the team fight though, because I think that it's actually important because two important things happened in that fight. One was Old Man Genetics, right? Like we both saw how he just ran into the enemy jungle thinking that he was sneaky, essentially dying alone but without doing anything. And the second important thing, Hopium died with ultimate. If he popped ultimate, he could at least buy time for the Diana to do something important there. But he dies with ultimate. They are able to go into the Diana when she engages, so the teamfight is so easy for the side of Zenigma to fight. That was so random to see when you think about it, and especially when ultimates like the Shockwave and the Onslaught of Shadows were down because they were used previously as well. That was such a good chance for TD Harmony to take advantage, and I think that they kind of threw it in the air. Oh, Oh.
However, Shadow Surge is landing, and the Shockwave won't line the knockup onto Lost Times. However, Midnight Wisp is still alive. And after all the damage is used, Goldman Genetics does find that ADC, gets a return kill. So that's 180. So it's currently 1-for-1, and Fuzzy of Targon doesn't really have much to go. And Hopium does have an Undying Rage, keeps himself alive for a bit longer. And there it is, Ozzy finding his way in, and it's an incredible fight going over in the way of TD Harmony. And Milky is in a bit of a strange spot as he's coming in late alongside with the Mandan. That being said, Dark Fighting won't land. Only Genetics here, and they'll just, yeah, it's a tank.
Yeah, and that was such a strange fight from the side of Zenigma. They get engaged on by a binding that Midnight Wisp should have realistically be able to survive from. Like, I don't know how he got hit, but he got hit. And that prompted the fight to happen. But I do gotta say, I don't know why Mandom is alone pushing bot lane. Like, I understand you want to make... Oh, wait. Okay, he's fine.
I mean, yeah, it's Ord.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the thought of handing it over as an AFK warning does land onto the Mandan, but he's also Ord, so it's
true.
fine. Like watch, look at how much damage he takes right there. Wow, incredible.
Yeah. Also, I just to finish the point of the team fight, I understand that Mandem wanted to push the side wave, but it was completely unnecessary. Like, you're a 5-man strong squad. If the 5 are there, you probably win that fight. But because that was a 5 before, it was so easy for the side of TD Harmony to take advantage of. They capitalized on the mistake of Zenigma, and they are able to take away 4 Baron buffs. That's so important for them, because that Baron buff push could have been so detrimental. But luckily, they are able to survive that, and can now potentially look to fight the dragon in 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Yeah. One thing that we're really, because of actually, as strange as it sounds, it's been more of a back and forth sort of game so far this time around. We haven't really had time. I really haven't had time to. Hold on, Shadow Surge does land onto Midnight Wisp. That being said, the exhaust does come through and does survive the initial part of that burst. However, Zonius will keep him alive for long enough for flipping scrubs to go through, and that was very late from Milky. However, will land his way onto the back line there, onto the Vex. Hazi now kind of in a strange spot. That being said, without the ADC there and that consistent damage, will actually find the kill onto Ozzy. Now the Shockwave used, kill onto Clipping Scrubs. It is an incredible fight from Zenigma Infinity, and what initially I had thought would have gone strongly in favor of TD Harmony has turned around for a massive win on the side of the blue team.
And just before the dragon spawns, I think that the Vex should be up for the dragon, but the rest of the members should not be able to get here. I think that Zenigma should rush it. The problem is that it's just the Hecarim, this Leona, and the Ornn around the dragon. I'm not sure if they can rush it down. The Zenigma is trying to come here, but I'm not sure, if I'm honest.
I mean, they still have a few cooldowns available.
Okay, I think they're not
on now, and with Tabda coming up to the Dragon Pit here, this will be Soul going over to the side of Zenigma Infinity.
It's feeling like Midnight Wisp is playing the bait role to just force everyone into a bad spot so that the rest of the team can clean up. Because we've seen so many times the Kai'Sa dying, and it ends up working out for Zenigma. And it realistically shouldn't, but it's been going so well for them for some reason as well.
Yeah, I think well, at least in this last fight, it was definitely surprising. But in all the other fights, it's mostly that usually to find that kill on Midnight Wisp, all their cooldowns do have to be extended to get that kill. And so even though they lose the Kai'Sa, Orianna is still no slouch at being able to dish out damage herself. And but that time around, I guess the exhaust just keeps catching them out, because I know the people are kind of used to just ADC always mindlessly taking heal, and what we're really seeing the value that exhaust has brought so far in this game, really reducing the amount of immediate kill pressure that they have onto them.
Wait, Karma's pushing. Wait, what?
Yeah, hold on.
Why are you here alone?
Laning Morgana support. Let's go. Clipping Scrubs is not really much he can do there. Not sure why he was there in the first place, though.
I think that's what he can do, not push alone the side lane.
More so, I don't know what he could do after he got in that situation, not necessarily that he could have avoided the situation. hold on though.
Blue team's
Opium
turret
running
has been
forward. Look at all that auto
Oh,
attack damage coming through. Fuzzy of Targon though
oh,
will find his way onto the enemy 80, onto the enemy Diana. Actually, I saw that so wrong. Ozzy is
I
surely
think this
going
is
down.
Baron.
Will get that kill.
Oh,
Midnight Wasp is an interesting flash. Oh my gosh, Shockwave is enough to knock up and delete Old Man Genetics. And with that, 2 for nothing, that is more than likely going to be Baron going over to Zenigma Infinity.
don't you love watching an AD carry get exploded? It's just one great
Yeah,
feeling, right?
yeah. I think in that sort of situation, it's fair, right? Like sometimes you're in a place where it's like 90 miles away, and you get touched once, and you're just like, okay, what could have done there? But I think in those sorts of situations where you get hit by a shockwave completely unassisted, while 2 of your teammates are dead while you're pushing mid,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm not too I kind of like usually it is funny seeing ADC getting blown up because it is like LeBlanc jumping from 50 miles
It's
away
hilarious, I
with
know.
no chance for the ADC to do anything. But right there, actually, I feel like it's just
Yeah, I feel like
hold
it's
on.
always great to see.
Oh, did
Ooh,
Opium get that?
he's just
I
doing
think he
Tryndamere
did.
things.
Yeah, just Tryndamere things. But I kind of expected not to get that because Smite. But yeah, it's fine, whatever. But as you were.
It's one extra buff that Kaisa doesn't get. That's a start.
True.
Wait,
That
but
is a valid point.
yeah.
Gosh.
Also, a important point. Ornn is essentially already giving everyone their own items. Yeah, everyone apart from Leona has own items. So
Yeah,
important power spikes. Like it's not
exactly.
that heavy, but it is quite good to have that extra power oomph behind you.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, stats are stats. You get those numbers up as high as you can. Doesn't oh my dearie me, that's flipping
Like
scrubs even
that.
half health. Yeah, like that. Exactly like that. That is sure that just about disperses every last member of the side of TD Harmony. Has a decent amount of hope, but as mentioned,
Oh,
Ocean Drake being
TV
able to
was
heal.
cancelled here from the Mandan.
TP, yeah,
So
TP was canceled, as you were saying, but they do have the Baron recall, so if they just walk away, they can really get
I
away
think
as
they
fast as
should
they
just
can
try and
because
engage. If I'm
losing
honest,
to,
yeah.
yeah, really, they should. Here they go. Engage coming through. They'll find the knockup onto Old Man Genetics, and as he's slowed up by the Solar Flare, this just might be lost times going down, actually, on the other side. Twitch not being
Oh,
found, and Wisp gets that kill onto the Vex. Old Man Genetics trying to find the kill. Will manage to get it onto the Kaisa, however, at what cost? It is Zenith Blade's land, and now that's a Twitch going down.
they need to
Flippin'
win
Scrub
quickly.
not quite finding the shockwave there onto Clip and Scrubs, but their health bars are now back to full because Ocean Drake does give incredible regeneration, and now it's looking very
Oh,
difficult. There it is, easy kill going over
I
to
think almost
Milky.
impossible.
Now it's currently a 1v4, and as you're saying, just about impossible as these final 2 Nexus turrets are going down. Opium doing the best he can.
Opium.
It's just
Oh,
not enough. It really just isn't. I respect the effort, but that'll
yeah.
be game 2 going over to Zenigma Infinity, and they will secure themselves a spot in the playoffs.
Yep, really nicely played. Both games that they won, drafting really nicely. When they threw away that pesky Rek'Sai that doesn't work that well, they can find better avenues to win, and quite a great way. A really nice turnaround game by Milky, in my opinion. Like the previous game really
Yeah.
was not that great. This time around, he did have a little bit more of a easier time early on because it was against a Diana. Diana, not the most gank heavy jungler, even though she ganked quite a bit, not the most gank heavy jungler. So he had time to go for farm and then begin impacting the map. But as soon as he had the ultimate, he had Triforce, he was carrying teamfights where Midnight Wisp was dead. He could deal the damage, and a lot of times he was able to deal quite a lot of damage. That fight for the Infernal Dragon, if I'm not wrong, meant that they could not only set themselves up for that potential soul point and then so, but also it was a lot of gold influx back into the Hecarim to allow for them to get back into a great spot. And after that, it was the better scaling composition and the easier to execute composition as well that ended up winning.
Yeah, and really, hold on. You're mentioning damage numbers because there's still a bug with after
Yeah, that's great.
spectator games that you can't see the graphs or the stats. So just give me a moment. And we were saying, yeah, it had the highest damage on the Hecarim, even though his both his mid and ADC did put in quite a lot of work for themselves, as you're saying, definitely carried those early portions of the game to allow the rest of his team to be
Yeah,
able to do what they did.
Yeah, and it's nice to see the carry potential from the jungler. I'm surprised that we didn't see the Hecarim previously, but it's a nice weapon to have in your arsenal if you're able to make use of it, right? So great to see the game from the Hecarim. Great that we see this game from Zenigma, and hopefully for TD Harmony they can solve the problems with the top lane, if possible, if it's actually their main top laner, and they can play around their actual roster, because even though the change from hoping from the jungle to the top lane worked out in the second game, it's not something that will work out continuously like we saw in this game. So hopefully they get their situation sorted out.
Hold on, I'm actually going to go back and check the foldy sheets because with the win onto Zenigma Infinity, there is a chance
Did they pass them?
that they yeah, that they passed them, but they would get the I believe they would still both be playing each other either
Okay.
way. I'm fairly certain. Or at least no, if Zenigma lost both games and results from elsewhere resulted in a sweep as well, they could have technically fallen down and had to play a tag. But I
I think
where
just
is the
because of games, maybe not. Because I
maybe
think games
not. I would
matter.
I would say most likely not, but I am going to try to find it. But all the while, while I'm doing that, where'd be the foldy sheets? I feel like I should have known this ahead of time, but we've got this confirmed. Actually, they're updated, and I can confirm that. Shoot, they only tell you if you make playoffs or not. Let me get the master sheet. The master sheet should be updated then, if the foldy sheets are though.
Potentially.
Yeah, give me a moment. This is important stuff. Standings on the master sheet. Let's throw loaded in. As it stands, group 4. No, not quite. Yeah, the win-loss
Unlucky.
difference. Yeah, unlucky, but still very, very good. Very
It's
well
a nice
done
win
by
when the regulars played on, right?
yeah, that and then since it's a preview of the first round, I mean, this is more so a warm up for both these teams even. So that'll
Yeah.
be that'll be a spicy one to come back for a round again, as they'll have to face each other once more. But until then, I have been sun praising alongside me tonight as a color caster has been TDS. Behind the scenes is Wookie Monster, and to everybody else at Runeterra Canada, I say thank you and good night.